Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Ground ball right side, Pasquarello. Here comes Rodriguez. Barger has a cannon, but the throw is late in Seattle. It's on the board in the first inning of Game 7. Barger grounds one through into center field. Springer trucks to the plate and ties the game. And a high drive to left center field. Lucas on the run. Now ball's gone. Julio Rodriguez, in the biggest game of his life, is delivering. Right up the gut, there goes Gibbs. Foot race. Winfield can't get there. Touchdown Lions. First and goal from the 5. Why not? Gibbs again. Spinning touchdown.
First and goal. Charbonnet's the back. The middle was clogged. It stutter step, and now he tries to drive his way into the end zone with some help. Touchdown.
I appreciate you guys being here. Really bad loss on Friday night. Not much else to say about it. 6 at the half and got outplayed in the second half. So it starts with me. We preach ownership, and I did not have the team prepared to be the more physical team. Credit to Minnesota. They were the more physical team, and they made the plays you have to make to win the game. And I have a lot of respect for that. So fortunately for us, we have another opportunity this week versus a really hot Northwestern team that plays very much the same way. Excellent defense. Can really run the football, dynamic wide out. So we'll have to show up much better than we did last Friday. With that, I'll answer your questions.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. You know what? We will show up. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Good. Just playing pharmacist over here for you a little bit.
Fudge. Might be one of those days.
I got a headache. I was like, I got some Tylenol. You want anything?
Yeah.
Good to go.
Glad that needle hadn't been opened either.
No, I always keep fresh ones.
Thank you.
You know?
Appreciate
It's one of the few perks of being friends with a diabetic. They probably always got needles on them.
Use that term a little loosely.
Friends or diabetic? I'm pretty diabetic.
Well, you got telephones. Call them up, as my man Steven Sipple would say.
What's up? What's going on?
Nothing, man. I'm
just chilling.
Just a day, just an ordinary day.
Just hanging out, having a good time.
Trying to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Vanessa Carlton, right, Shane?
Is it?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I think so.
I only know the one Vanessa Carlton song.
If I just
yeah
into the I think that's Vanessa Carlton.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Thank you.
You could do the whole Terry Crews thing.
Oh man.
No, have you seen that movie where he's like jamming along to it?
Is that the musclehead that's like super weird?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mess with him.
It seems like your kind of guy. Both football players.
No, not my guy.
Oh, okay.
Out on Terry Crews.
Ex-football player, I should say. He doesn't actively play
Was
anymore.
he legit? Was he good?
I think he got drafted.
Did he?
Yeah. I think it was one of those when they had like 18 rounds still, but that counts. Technically.
Yeah.
I think he made a couple practice squads.
So there were a couple balls lying around on the field yesterday, like baseballs. But they weren't real balls. They were like, you use them for different things.
Yeah.
Carrying. So Jernigan and I were just we were jacking around, and some of the players were watching, and they're not familiar with anything that I used to do in my former life except outside of football.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my gosh. So I was kind of telling them the story. They're like, no way. And I was like, yeah. It's like one sport I actually got drafted in, the other I didn't. And one of the, bless his heart, he's a ding dong. But he's like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. What round was that? It was like the 36th. And he looked at me like it was made up. I go, baseball used to have a lot of rounds.
I mean, Piazza got drafted in 62.
Yeah, a lot of rounds.
Then it was at 50 forever. And then it wasn't until after COVID they shortened it to 25, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just was funny.
Tell me you don't know ball without telling me you don't know ball. Talk about 36 rounds.
He's like 16 years old.
Well, listen, you could. It's not like I was watching the draft.
Dude, what were you doing
drafted.
in 09?
09, finishing up college.
I mean, you didn't know bleep either.
I knew that there was more than 36 rounds in a baseball draft.
I doubt it.
No, I really did.
I doubt it.
A big.
I'm gonna go ahead and doubt that.
No, 100%. I'm a big draft nerd. I've always loved it.
Just nerd.
Well, that too, yeah. But always loved drafts. I could tell you, like back in the day, they used to have 7 and 12 rounds of
back in the day
of NBA draft. They used to go what was it, 15 deep on the NFL draft. Like, I'm a big draft nerd.
Oh man, Stank Sister can play that song. I wish I could play the piano.
TK says, I had a defendant try to tell the officer the needle he had was insulin for type A diabetes. It was meth.
You take meth through a needle?
I had no idea. I don't know, I guess.
I don't know why.
Maybe are you thinking crystal meth with like Breaking Bad with like the rocks?
Okay.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got.
Listen, I'm not like a meth connoisseur, so I don't know like I mean, I know a lot of things. I don't know the difference between.
Sorry, the team meth connoisseur is just really funny.
I don't know.
I don't know what the other option is, though. I only know crystal meth from Breaking Bad.
So I never saw that show.
Yeah.
Do you inject it?
I don't know what happens after, because it looks like rock candy, basically, at least in the show.
So you don't just take it off the spoon?
I don't know if you just like eat it. Like, I don't know what.
Aren't they always like melting it in the spoon?
I thought that was heroin.
I don't know.
I don't know. I really don't. There's only certain drugs I know how to take, and none of them are recreational.
Weird. Amazing Daniel's like you smoke it.
You smoke meth?
Do you?
Is that what you're saying, Amazing Daniel?
Do you smoke meth?
Well, it makes sense with the whole.
You smoke crack, don't you?
With the whole teeth thing.
Oh,
yeah, that would make sense.
Okay.
Because if you're injecting meth, it wouldn't mess up with your teeth, right? Unless it's just a malnutrition thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I highly doubt meth addicts have like a balanced diet.
I don't think they're like getting all the food groups in.
Hey man, how's my enamel? Yeah, I don't think that comes up. Is my enamel good? How about some see,
apparently you do smoke it or you can inject it. So it's smoking or injecting. Rico says you heat it up on a spoon, get it in the needle, inject it in your body. You smoke crack. Rico, apparently a lot of people tell me you can smoke meth too. I don't know.
I have a question. This is really dumb. I apologize for kids going to school, but why once it's on the spoon would you waste your time getting it in the needle? Because it gets into intravenously?
Yeah, so like is
that better than if I just like
sometimes there's certain I only know this because of insulin. You can't like drink insulin because it doesn't get into your body the right way. There's certain things you have to inject for your body to absorb it.
So is it bad sometimes if I unscrew the capsule and I just take the powder?
No, because if you're going to take it in a pill anyway, then your body will digest it that way.
So if I'm going to take it liquid anyway, why wouldn't I just get it all?
Because drinking it and going into an injection are different.
Oh, I want it in the circulatory system.
Yeah, or subcutaneously, which is below the skin.
Says to who?
Subcutaneously.
Oh, yeah. I said subcutaneously one time, and somebody in the stream goes, did you just say subcutaneous? And I said I may have.
That's like when it's suspiciously below the skin.
No, that was like when I had a nasty cut in the white part that looks like the back end of a pork chop.
TK would like to talk about meth.
What's wrong with him? Well, I guess what's wrong with us?
TK, let's hear it. We need
Fine. We're taking a call in the first 7 minutes talking about meth. TK, good morning.
You're welcome.
Can we get meth 101 here, TK?
He said you're welcome. What do you want?
Now for the record, I have never ingested meth.
Okay. FTR. I got it.
For my job, I get to meet lots of people who have done meth.
Okay. What's their preferred entry method?
Like I said in the comment, mostly they smoke it.
Okay.
Meth is a very, it's a very flexible drug. You can make it anyway, and you can do it. You can use it anyway, except for you can't drink the liquid or you die.
Oh, not great, not ideal.
Yeah,
Well, I feel like there's a Sam's Morgan Freeman moment, right? Like, just jump. You smoke crack, don't you? Like, if you're gonna do it slowly, like, why not just get it? You're gonna die anyway. Why not just drink it?
Because they're not doing it for the death; they're doing it for the high. The death is an unfortunate byproduct later.
Oh,
if they could stay alive and just get high the whole time, they would.
Got you.
They're doing it because they have lots of anxiety. At least this is what they tell me. And they need to be productive, and also they want to go rob people because they got to get more meth.
All right.
So, just like how I robbed you guys for Drake Lindsay.
All right. So, wow. Nice spin. I have a question, though, TK, along the lines of the press conference yesterday. Do you feel like because you have experience with meth addicts, it makes you qualified to have opinions on meth addicts?
I think it makes me more qualified to talk about meth addicts than my neighbor, who I don't know if they've ever even seen meth.
Okay, so if your neighbor had an opinion on a meth addict, do you just take it with a grain of salt because he or she is not as familiar as you are?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just curious. It's a segue.
I'll hear them out
Okay.
because their experience is not my experience, but
you just may go ahead and grain of salt that thing, huh?
Grain of meth.
Okay.
Depends on who I'm listening to.
Oh, okay.
Because it does come. You can't crush up in powders. That's how. So meth was widely used by the Nazis in World War II, and it's called Pervitin then, and they would give it to their soldiers. How they took over France so fast.
Time out. We're going. No, we need a full. Get as quick an answer as possible. Why do you know that?
There's a really good book about the use of drugs in modern warfare that I read in college.
Okay. Listen, I'm just trying to transition out of this thing, and you won't let me. So,
I really do think that Shavers being injured just destroyed their whole defensive game plan.
Should have taken more meth. No, kidding. I appreciate that, TK. Wow. Go ahead, Cooch. You're on a roll. You're on a roll. You keep going. Did we lose him? Oh, that was on the verge of being one of the greatest calls of all time.
It's up there anyway. Well, that's how
how many people right now do you think are Googling Pervitin?
That's how they invaded France so quickly.
Smoke crack, don't you? Yeah. Now get out. I consider your city occupied.
Gotta take over France.
Wow.
Whew.
All right.
So, where were you trying to lead?
I have no idea.
TK with the press conference question.
was feeling uncomfortable about.
And then he hit you with the Nazis did meth.
Yeah, like.
There's this. Never mind. I'm not gonna continue to derail.
So I think.
Yeah.
I think TK may be my game show partner.
Oh, he knows a lot of random stuff.
Yeah, but then there are some things where it's just like, if there's a timer, like we're screwed.
Yes. Yeah.
And they turn the thing upside down, and you got to I don't know if he would be good at the pyramid game.
Yeah, you want to get it done quickly.
But the range is
pretty good.
Ooh, flipping vault.
Pervitin.
Yeah.
That's how they took over France so quickly.
All right. Giant pig. What am I listening to? Well, it's good to see him back up and rolling this morning after the playoffs last night. He was going through the gamut as a sports fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, the Lions, they did well.
Yeah, they're.
What's his other fandom that?
So he was dabbling in ALCS.
Oh, Mariners.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
I was rooting for the Mariners. That was a bummer.
I was rooting for the Mariners as well.
Yeah.
I don't really care. I mean,
yeah, I don't have. Obviously,
you're always interested in blaming Canada anyway. So
listen, I think I have much less against Canada than you do.
I've been to that stadium.
Yeah, it's is it Rogers Center?
Yeah, so I will live. Yeah, it's like the big cable company.
Yeah, like telecom.
That family has made quite a bit of.
I actually one of a very early. I don't even remember why. Probably one of my first sports memories is watching
Joe Carter.
Yeah. So I do have a little bit of fondness for the Blue Jays, but I was rooting for the Mariners.
Why would that make you fond?
Because I loved baseball a lot. And so it kind of that was one of my very first memories of it. Same way with the Mariners and the Griffey thing a couple years later with Edgar Martinez. It's a very core memory of a game that I enjoy a lot. So, kind of gives me a fondness for it. It's one of my entries into a sport that I love. I'm sorry, did I give too good of an answer? You can't make fun of it?
Yeah. Exactly.
I could see it in your face. You're like, damn it.
Fudge. It's I wanted to pick at that.
And you're like, oh, no, that actually makes sense. Shoot.
I mean, right along the lines with everything else that we talked about this morning. I mean, what in the world is
Yeah, I'm not going to get into Steve's tweets because, he clears things up for us, but.
Steve who?
Steve O'Donnell.
Oh, Bruin Steve?
Yeah, he
Bruin Steve with the plush yard of the nice house?
I've never been to his house, but I have
No,
seen
I just saw I knew when he built it and when he bought it.
He showed us a picture of the yard. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, that thing is nice.
You're getting
Although, was there a fence?
I thought it was the front yard.
I don't remember no, he showed the back too.
Oh, okay.
Did you see those lines?
I'll be honest.
I mean, I'm not even going to talk about lines, but did you see the the wheel things?
Oh, yeah,
the indentations?
Yeah.
Or
I mean, they're mowing lines. It's fine.
The impressions.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see the impressions?
I'll be honest. I didn't look at the yard that closely. I was like, oh, that's green. Nice.
I can't find my glasses. I'm screwed.
I can't read without your glasses.
See, Andrew started that. There's a difference between me not being able to see and read. I can clearly read.
I know. It's so funny.
It's not funny.
It's funny for me.
You're an idiot.
That's accurate. You're going to read the comments with your binoculars?
No, I'm not now.
You need me to get them in there? Do you want me to zoom
them
in for you?
No, because everybody has jokes. I'll just go to my car during the break and see if I have another pair of readers.
I could dial it up for you if you want me to. Get those binoculars dialed in. I got you. I'm just here to help, DB.
No, you're not.
I'm just here to help.
And I'm right. So right now, internally, if you took a temp gauge, I'm pissed that I put my binoculars back because of what you were going to think. I really should.
Yeah, get them back out.
No.
Get them back out.
No.
Rock those things.
Somebody's going to put a caption out there, and Bro and Steve will do a screen grab, and all of a sudden people are like, why does this dude keep rocking binoculars at a show?
I mean, to be honest, it'll probably be somebody that works for us. If I had to guess.
They're idiots, too.
Don't know that I can read this font
outside of
readers.
Anna, Sasha, and Avery. Only the dudes.
Dummies.
Although I rock with Kyle.
Dude, Kyle's great.
I know.
We love Kyle.
But Action, Sleeping with the Enemy, Jackson, and Suave, they can go fly a kite.
They out of the treehouse?
Go pound sand. I was trying to read what Craig said because it was so long it got my attention. Shane, can you bold, please, Craig's comment? I cannot read. I'm going to read this real time, so I hope he uses punctuation correctly because I'm about to go full Ron Burgundy. Craig, I'm reading this because there are so many words. The fact that Coach spoke as openly as he did I can't read. The fact that Coach spoke as openly as he did yesterday actually gives me a measure of confidence. He must feel that the coaches and players can handle it and respond positively, or else he wouldn't have called for accountability so openly. Would have he? Is that correct?
I think it's would he have.
I think you can go either way.
Maybe. It sounds goofy that way, but he might not be wrong.
I think we should ask TK, our resident 24-year-old.
TK, let me know if that's right or wrong.
Craig, I agree.
Have?
You know what else the coach wouldn't do?
Promise they're going to show up? Guarantee they're going to show up?
No, I mean, you can get into all that. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
I have not. I'm still mad. So I haven't spoke to him since Saturday.
Okay.
Because he said something to me on Friday. I'm not going to lie. Made you
feel some kind of way?
Yeah. I went back to the booth pissed.
Is it something you can share or no?
Well, it fit. Yeah, sure. It fits.
Okay.
So Jess, me, and Cass does the filming.
Mm-hmm.
Jess does the question asking. We're out on the field. We're just kind of doing our thing. I get a feel. I talk to some of the coaches. Whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to lighten the mood. He's sitting there with his legs crossed, awful casual. He does not typically sit down long enough to be accosted.
Okay.
So he was not a moving target, so I went in for the kill.
Keeps it moving usually.
Paid the price.
What happened?
So I said, he goes, hey, whatever you're doing, you look great. You look like, I said, yeah, I said, I don't know if it's intentional. I appreciate that. I said, you, by the way, need to mix in some cholesterol and some cheeseburgers. And he said, oh, trust me, I get plenty of cheeseburgers. So I felt like we were all in the tree of trust.
Mm-hmm.
This is honest to God, true story.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, you know what it is? It's the white. It's slimming. Do you like the fact that I'm wearing white today? This man looked dead at me. And he goes, oh, you want to think about some other BS narrative that you can think about that's going to dictate whether you can do your job well or not? Let me know how that works out for you. I got up. Man, that wasn't necessary. Like, really?
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying. Listen, I felt some type of way. And I had to think about what he was telling me. So I walked up. Listen, pouted. Ask Benny Mac.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell him what he said. Benny was taking pictures. He was doing something. I go, oh, I thought I lost you. Because I can't go anywhere by myself. So Ben walked me back up the deal. And I'm telling you, I sat there and I bet I pouted for 20 minutes. I was like, what do I have to do whether I can do my job or not? Man, what I do afterwards? After we took the L, I'm just being honest. After we took the L, I put my black zip-up vest back on and got on the plane. I said, oh, shoot. I got to practice what I preach.
Here's my question.
Can you? So I'm just giving you a snapshot into his personality.
Yeah.
He was so quick with it.
He's
like, you want to put some other BS narrative in your head to think about to decide whether you're doing your job well or not? And I was like, I feel like we fast forwarded. That's a little much. And I ate it.
Is it possible?
Oh, Lord, I don't want to hear from you.
Is it possible that he was talking to you but not talking to you?
Correct. Probably.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's how I took it, is like, you know how there's
yeah, but you know what bugged me real time? Listen, it's easy to go back and
yeah, you can parse through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was I know what he was saying. He was 100% right. But in real time, I'm like, I think I'm past that message. Like, whether I wear white or not doesn't have anything to do with whether I say something stupid on air or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, we did take an L. It's very inexplicable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to wear white again. But the real reason I actually changed is because I had a little orange thing on my sleeve that I could not get off.
Oh, you got a little stain on there?
Yeah. Kyle looked at me because he sees me. I had to go in my luggage, and I have this stuff that like stain removal.
Yeah.
I'm scrubbing furiously.
It's like Clorox pen or whatever.
It's like $5.50, and he goes, I just plain as day. He goes, well, this ought to be great with your OCD. We're going to be about 8 minutes into the game, and you're going to be preoccupied with your sleeve. I was like, okay.
Wow, people just taking shots
like that. Like,
what is it about me? Just want to know, because that seemed uncalled for too.
You know what it is?
You know what Coach Williams said to me yesterday in the locker room? I'm an easy target.
No, it's the good piece of cheese thing. People will know that you'll give them another chance.
No,
that's what it is.
I was like,
I feel like I can bring it.
Okay,
like, they can talk crazy, and they know you'll find the good in them somewhere.
That thing it did eat me up though.
The stain.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know how it happened. I didn't have any problem. So it's so funny listening to this press conference yesterday because it's all about what you're used to.
Okay.
You know, high leverage recognizes high leverage, right? So sometimes, I know people in all sorts of professions, lawyers, police officers. A really good example. So after listening to this presser yesterday, I immediately thought of folks. Because I got a lot of guys, in pharmaceutical sales, people want former athletes. They want former athletes for a multitude of reasons, right? But so a couple of my buddies, one in particular, he was traveling, so he had to miss the service on Saturday. And he tells me these stories of his device and doctors that he likes to work with and doctors that he doesn't. Because the doctor has a particular way that fits his personality versus the optimum functionality for the device. So there's always this tug of war, and he always wonders why they have to go through this. Why can't you just do it like this? Well, I like this, and this is my deal. And he goes, the funny thing about it is after every case, he has this like time of reflection where he asks himself what he could have done differently. Regardless of whether he likes what the doc did or not, he's like,
it's a postmortem.
I'm up here looking through it. They called me down. Is it a crunch time situation? And some people are just built like that, right? Where they cannot like something or not agree with it, but they can still assess themselves real time or post to see what they could. Some people are just built like that. Other people will wait till it burns and then tell you what you should have done. Like everybody's
different.
Everybody's just different.
And the reflection point is different,
right?
Like
and
when
it happens and when to be accountable, when not. And I guess at the end of the day, I'm rocking with Craig here because I don't think number one, you don't say what you said yesterday in the manner in which you said it, and have those guys thinking you're going to Penn State. That's number one.
Fair.
I think
that's fair. Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Right. So I was never in on the distraction thing to begin with.
Yeah. I didn't think about the comments yesterday that way, but now that you bring it up, that makes sense.
This is the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Because I always think about credibility.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
if I'm going to go there,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
How credible am I with what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I'm very quick to tell you when I'm wrong.
Sure.
Because I want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to feel like you telling you something that I'm not saying I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you, like, if it was advantageous to me, if I had to do it over again, or what I think you should do so you don't have to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always going to keep it a buck.
Mm-hmm.
So if you know how easy it would be for Dana to say, Matt, how are you going to get at me like this when you're over here flirting with Penn State?
Mm-hmm.
Or Donnie, what? Really? He's going to challenge us to be more physical, and you're over here moonlighting?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Nah, not happening. And the second thing I thought of was he's not going to tell you anything out loud because all we're going to do is critique it without him being willing to do it himself.
Yeah.
So a couple things can be true at once, right? He can say, I own it. It starts with me. But he could also tell you what you're not doing either.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do it without blaming or deflecting. You can complain because that's what that forum was for, right? There's a difference between venting and lamenting.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what it is, then you just have to Google. Like, Lamentations is a book for a reason. And it encompasses a story for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in front of the media like that, you hope that you're doing more lamenting than venting.
Mm.
And it's all going to be on how it's perceived.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Like, depends on what I think your heart is.
Yeah, because venting has no point, basically. It's just it's a vanity exercise.
It's seldom constructive in the end
just
result.
to make yourself feel better, right? Which sometimes is necessary, I would think. But
as part of the human element, sure.
Right, yeah.
So, like, I don't know, man. Would I have said some things differently? Sure. But that's really what makes the world go round, because
I thought it was pretty honest. I mean, I thought it was very honest.
He was super candid.
Yeah.
He was extremely
candid.
The
first thing I thought of during the whole thing yesterday, the thing that jumped out to me the most was when he's talking about I couldn't get the assistant coaches to be convinced about what this game was going to be like.
Yeah.
And, the very first thing I thought of, because I know people are losing their minds over that line. They're like, well, what does that even mean? I mean, if you can't get your assistant coaches to whatever, right? It reminded me of 1999. Bobby Bowden is giving an interview before the Florida State Virginia Tech game.
Yeah.
And he goes, I couldn't convince my coaches and my players. And they won that game, by the way. But he said, I couldn't convince my coaches and my players that these guys were just as good as Florida or Miami or Nebraska. He's like, I couldn't do it because it had Virginia Tech on the helmet. So I know for a fact, like, people are losing their minds over this. And I go, that team won a national title, and he couldn't get those guys to believe the team they were playing for a national title was good enough to be there. Right? So when I hear that, I don't lose my mind because I know this is a thing that happens. Right? We see it in high school, we see it in college, we see it in the pros. Like, it is a thing that happens. And I'll be honest, if I'm an assistant coach, and I'm not a football genius by any means, but from what I watch Minnesota, and I go, that's not a very good football team.
Mm-hmm.
You think they didn't watch Minnesota and think that's not a very good football team?
Yeah, I know.
Now, that doesn't have to affect your preparation. That's where the disconnect is. But you can watch Minnesota just like I did and go, God, I think Nebraska wins by like 18.
I have to be really, really. So, Captain asked me a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys really believe that? I'm going to ask for permission.
Granted.
Okay? No, you can't give it to me.
Okay.
The short answer to that, Captain, is I absolutely believe it.
Okay.
I came back. We're getting ready for another game this week. And these guys in this room are the only one, and I told two guys at the memorial service, where I had conversation, and I was taken aback by it, by an assistant.
Okay.
It 100% echoes what Coach Rhule said.
Mm.
And I'm going to ask, hey, can I, in a roundabout way, revisit what you and I talked about pregame? Because if you want people to get better and you want to get better, he has to own that was his thought process.
Yeah.
He has to own it.
Because if you're sitting here being like, oh, no, I didn't do that, you can't fix it.
Got to own it.
Right?
Yeah. So, Eddie Meskel, the Channel 7, who I'm doing the videos with, he asked me what one of the keys was to beat Northwestern. I said, you got to take ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take ownership that you were ill prepared.
Yes.
Because it happens.
Yeah.
And which is why I wasn't.
It's the human nature part of sports.
So the only part that really got my dander up yesterday was what part?
Of the press conference?
No, of the show yesterday morning.
Oh.
Lance, sometimes you just got pushed away from the keyboard, buddy.
That's what I was shaking my head about.
It's my guy, man. But sometimes he's just doing too much. And it's not who he is. It's phony baloney. Like, just push away from the keyboard.
The part that got you up in your dander, I know we got, well, I don't know if it was you or more me, when we're talking about, firing fixes everything.
Nope.
And
Which
part? Which part am I forgetting?
You just didn't match their physicality.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, you can get into the scheme, right? You can talk about whether you didn't throw it enough, whether you didn't run, you ran it, you didn't run it enough, whether you shouldn't have been in court. Like, you can get into all that.
The football stuff, yeah.
Because that part of it is true. But at the end of the day, you have to control the fact that this team doesn't really like you. They enjoy doing bad things to you, and you didn't respond.
Yeah.
That's when I kind of go off because.
Okay. Yep.
And I talked about, it happens with Iowa, and like Wisconsin used to enjoy it, right?
Yeah.
Like they took what we did, and they got better at it than we did.
Yeah.
So that was the part that I was pretty mad about. And Shane, I don't know if you have those clips ready, but can you? Yeah, sure, Brian. The scheme was the scheme may have been bad to begin with, but I'm just telling you that doesn't solve the problem, because what players are gonna do, I'm just telling you, and what you want them to do is say, what can I have done differently? It starts with everybody. If a player says, hey, that scheme sucked, you don't want them letting themselves off the hook. You don't. There are lots of guys in the military and gals that may not agree with the tactical procedure, but they have a commitment to the execution. So when you go tactical versus technical and you're not in the position of leadership, sometimes you just have to do what you're told. There are lots of times where lawyers will take instructions from the DA and they would maybe like to do it differently. There are lots of guys that sell medical devices that are in the operating room and they know how their device works, but they would like to do it differently. It doesn't mean because you don't like the way that the doctor operates that you don't do your job. Right? So, cool. The scheme was bad to begin with. Do you want your pound of flesh or do you want to get better? Because if you want to get better, then you can acknowledge the scheme was bad if that's what you believe. But that's for the coaches. It's not for the players. Believe me. I would look at AG sometimes and I was like, why does this dude get to run 11 and 19 wall and I get to run 47, 43 dive? That play sucks. I don't like it. I want to get out on the perimeter. I want to deal one-on-one. I want to look fast. I want to be good. No, my job was to run 43, 47 dive on 2nd and 9 when the free world knows I'm running dive. And I could be like, man, this play sucks. And guess what? If I succumb to that, you don't want to cheer for me. You don't. You don't want me playing anywhere near for what you cheer for. So that's no different, Brian. And I'm just picking on you because this is out of love. Because I want to correct the behavior. That's no different than Holgerson getting up there and saying, man, listen, I know EJ only touched the ball X amount of times, but if I call a pass play, then execute it. And you'd be like, oh, man, would that be cool? Would it be cool? No, it's just not. So what you really want to do is you want to have everybody do their job better. Because when you lay an egg, just like this team did, what you cannot do is blame. Do what you're asked to do and do it to the best of your ability. If you don't get the outcome you wanted, you go back and you assess it. That's how life works. It does, right? I can bitch and moan about grocery shopping or spending money or extracurriculars or not knowing about I could complain about a lot of things, but if I'm ever going to get better, the very first thing I better do is say, hey, what could I do differently? Because you know what? If you don't, you will always be a victim and you'll be in the reactionary business. Being in the reactionary business is not a good place to be, right? You rather do the dictating than have it being dictated to you. So you have options. You just do. And it's not just coach, player, boss, employee. It's just life. It's how it should go if you want to function at a high level, or honest to goodness, at least just maximize. You know how many times I want to explain away my piss poor behavior because of what somebody did to me? But I don't want, I'll never get better. I'll be at the whim of how you treat me. Right? Sometimes I'm going to make a really, really, really bad decision. And I'm going to be like, man, the devil made me do it. I wasn't in the right frame. No, man. Like, all those things might be true, and I still got to be better. The scheme may have been piss poor, but you still have a job to do. And at the end of the day, you know what the players are going to say? Listen, man, when I see down block, get your ass down. Right? When I read face mask and he's trying to scoop me, fit in the run game. When there's a ball that's over the shoulder and I've got I got a chance to catch it, high point that thing. But what do I typically do? I let it fall and I breadbasket that thing, and I've been able to get away with it. So therefore, I'm just going to do it again. No, I guarantee you that's not what they're coached to do. That doesn't mean that the coach isn't doing their job. Sometimes people just do what they do because they feel like doing it. That comes with a cost. So we can have all these crazy opinions, and we can have these hot takes, and we can read message boards, and we can regurgitate, or the people that you cheer for, that we get so passionate about and have all these hot takes about, you could actually instill in them and believe in what you want them to do to get the desired outcome that you're complaining about. You got choices. Misery is optional. Misery is optional. You cannot rest. You don't want them. You can rest in it, but you don't want those guys resting in it. You don't. That's about as good as I can say it.
Yeah.
It is we perpetuate what we don't like, what we're seeing. We don't even realize we're doing it ourselves. It's crazy. It's like, that's why you stay on the agitated cycle when you do laundry. You ever watch that thing? It just goes round and round and round. That's why they call it the agitated cycle. Get off.
Can I ask you a question about something that started that whole thing?
What's that?
If you're not committed to the scheme, is there any way to know if it was good or not?
You don't even give yourself a fighting chance.
Okay, that's all I was wondering. Let's take a quick break. That's DBM Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, I feel like just trying to find my way within the system and not forcing it. I feel like throughout the summer I was kind of trying to get my feet up under me, trying to figure out how I can implement winning. And I feel like these last 3 weeks in practice, I kind of just put myself aside and I would say do what the team I feel like needs me to do. And I feel like that's why, it's got me my feet up under me a little bit more. Got me a little bit more confidence, and my teammates have been helping me, talking to me a lot off the court and instilling confidence in me that they know I got it. So, yeah, that's the best.
Fall into fearless savings this October at Edwards Nissan with upfront deals you can point to. Lease the 2025 Nissan Sentra SV starting at $249 a month for 36 months with $0 down. Sleek design, smart tech, and incredible efficiency. Style meets savings at Edwards. Or take on any road in the 2025 Nissan Rogue S all-wheel drive. Lease starts at $449 a month for 36 months with $0 down. Capability, comfort, and control in every mile. Don't wait. These Edwards Nissan offers end this October. It pays to make the drive to Edwards Nissan.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. I mean, I really think I've always been really. I don't know what to say to you guys other than it wasn't good enough. I mean, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at the coaches. I'm pissed off at myself. I'm mad. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to say it any other way other than that. To be quite honest with you, like, we didn't. Emmett ran the ball hard. They blitzed us. We never made them pay. We got in some big sets a couple times. We ran by. We have the ball in the red zone twice in the first half. You got to score 2 touchdowns. It's a pretty simple game to me. Run the ball, stop the run, protect your quarterback, affect their quarterback. Don't beat yourself with penalties. We get down the red zone. We dive on a guy's head. We get a targeting call. I mean, we have them for the 4th and 3. We get a defensive holding. You can't beat yourself with penalties. We haven't taken the ball away on defense in 2 weeks. Those things all fall on me. I'm the head coach, and so I don't mean to minimize it. I don't know how to answer with you. You're exactly right. Everything that you guys are going to bring up, you guys are right about. To be quite honest, like I'm bringing the same things up. You can't give up 9 sacks. You got to run the football. You got to convert third downs. I think we were 1 for 5 on third down in the first half, right? Like, And if they're going to blitz you, then you have to get the ball. But they also sacked us in a 3-man rush. They all, so it's not any one thing. It was just bad football.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you, if you're on the road this morning, keep those eyes up and that phone down. Don't get distracted. You've got one job as a driver. That's to drive. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Rhule was, we mentioned, unusually candid. It seems like he's not letting anybody off the hook. Like there is a sense there, like when he tells me he's mad, like I feel that in the way he was talking yesterday. It seems like, I don't know why, maybe this is a me thing. It seems like there's been not just past Husker coaches, but other coaches in general, when I'm watching press conferences, that seem a little hesitant to maybe not necessarily call out their assistants, but say anything that might reflect poorly on them. And I don't think he was doing it so it would reflect poorly, but I really feel like he wasn't letting anybody off the hook yesterday.
Yeah.
Like there was when you go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say, when you're talking about, by name, hey, I'm mad at Dana. I'm mad at Donnie. I'm mad, like when calling people out by name and not saying, hey, they're not good at their job or whatever, but knowing that we've seen them do better and that wasn't delivered on Friday, I think is, if you're gonna, like you said, if you're gonna have any sort of fix it, it has to start there with, hey, we're all to blame here.
Yeah, and I don't know if he said it,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not doing it because no. But if you just called him and you said, hey, what are you mad at? He's gonna say that I allowed this to happen. That's gonna be his number one answer.
Yeah,
I allowed this to happen.
Allowed the mentality to be in the building.
Yeah,
allowed
and. You guys, you don't have to hear my heart. I'm just telling you where this is just experience.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's as a player or a coach, when we got our ass whooped by Central, okay, it's two things are easy, or two things can be true at once. Okay, we got out coached, number one. We got out toughed, number two. Number three, we were bad as a staff going into that week. Our coach literally told us, we're walking off the field, the players are done, and he said, I can't feel like I'm the only one disciplining and being on our guys. We need to be better. We're looking around like, I'm not telling you anything that isn't true. Asking, I'm like, is he talking to me? Is he talking to me? Is he talking to me? Is he talking about me? Right? So you start processing. And he's mad. And he said it again in the coach's office. He did. But do you know, after that game, what he stood up there and said in the middle of the field? Hey, man, listen, this starts with me. This is on me. So here's the beauty of it. We're going to get better, and we're going to fix this. Because you know why? Because I know how to fix this. It starts with me. He could have easily said, he could have said a lot of things. But those guys aren't mature enough to have heard what Coach Rhule said yesterday because they're in high school. These guys cover this team for a living, and they're adults. So he's going to just tell you what happened and hope that you can do with the information what you will. But at that point, he doesn't care.
It doesn't matter.
And I don't know if he's going to be right. You got to hear this clearly. I don't know if it will work with the motivation. I'm just telling you why I think he said and did what he did. Like, you just been through it.
Yeah.
It has to start with, there are guys yesterday, they had quote unquote an off day. It's a work day, right? Some guys are going to go out and do some work. Some guys aren't. The guys that aren't going to be any more wrong in wanting to rest than guys that are out getting work until you see what the results are.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the reality of it, right?
Yeah, because you don't know if that guy needed the rest and if the work would have been detrimental. Like, you have no idea.
Then you got to go out and take the test.
You don't know if you studied enough till you took the test.
It's like,
right?
Yeah, but what we do, and it's okay, because it's what happens when people talk and they disseminate information, and then we get to pick through it and decide whether we agree with it or not, or this guy is all full of, I don't know why DB. Like, I mean, everybody's going to have opinions, right? At the end of the day, it's do I feel like I'm, or we, or you, or whomever the individual is operating at maximum level? What people do with the information is up to them.
Yeah.
But at that point, it's not on you, right? It's like, I mean, not to get political, an easy example, like you can call for federal troops, but whether you want to deploy them or not is not up to you, right? But you can say hey, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. Agree with it or not, this is what I think. And then some other entity gets to say, like the Supreme Court,
say,
hey,
valid, not valid.
Valid, not valid.
Yeah.
But at least like, you think I'm mad at no, because I want to know what I'm dealing with. Whether I agree with it or not isn't even really the issue. But as adults, all you ever want to do is know what you're dealing with.
Be equipped with the information.
Then there is no other place to look. I've said this since I can remember, right? Like, if you don't like me, just tell me you don't like me.
Don't play around with it.
I know what I'm dealing, like I can handle it. It's a lot easier than just picking at low-hanging fruit to not vibe with what we're really saying. Like, you just don't like me. So it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah.
He's going to receive it a certain way.
There's no version of that is going to convince that person to like you.
Same as in a position of leadership at this university with this football team, with what happens, you're not going to make everybody happy. You're just not. Not unless you're winning 11, 12 games, and even then that metric will change. So if you're going to do what you do and do it over the long haul, you just have to do it in a way that you believe is right. When you take the test, you'll know.
Yeah.
And then you'll either have enough time to study different, or you'll run out of time and you get to go take the test someplace else.
Sure.
Like, that's just how it goes.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
I do think one of the things that we forget as sports fans, and I do it too, is we forget that progress is not linear.
Hey, Brian, 888-638-476. I get so sick of you hiding behind this keyboard. You never make any points. Just call us. 888-638-4876. I want to know where the double talk is. Because this is good for everybody. We can all learn at the same time.
Yeah.
You're up, Brian. All eyes on you. 888-638-4876. Let me know what the double talk is.
Yeah, no,
it's pretty self-explanatory. And if it's giving you the willies, then there's probably a reason why we have a disconnect. There's different strokes for different folks. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I think we often forget.
Comes in here with the same why put yourself through it, B? I mean, you got to have something else better to do.
Maybe not.
And it's okay. You got to have something else better to do than come in here and whine and bitch and moan and talk about how much you don't like Rhule. Like, go cheer for somebody else. Go listen to a different show. Go do something else. It's because it's not constructive. It's driving you crazy. I just want to know. And I'm here for it.
Like, what does he get out of it?
No, like, I just want, I'd like to, you're going to laugh.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something I can learn. I just want to know. Like,
sure.
I know you're going to be like, why waste your time? My sister got so mad at me one time. This was about 3 years ago. Right? We obviously have different political views. And I said something in the group text about, I'm interested that, the president said, well, why? I'm like, maybe I can learn something. Like, this, and this. And I'm like, I might be able to take something out of that. Sure. That's just, and she'll find that ridiculous. That's okay. She's probably, for her vantage point, that's cool. But I still want to know, just so I can see, like, because I'm not done learning. So
Yeah.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Like I just want to know so we can better fix this thing. Other than the fact we just love being miserable. Right? It's just a lot easier than banging away on a keyboard. Like just have a normal conversation. Somebody else is probably thinking what they're thinking, so we can solve all the world's problems together.
Yeah, we could just sing Kumbaya, make some s'mores.
And we don't have to.
Yeah.
There's lots of people that I like. Do you know how hard there's lots of people that I don't really vibe with that I can coexist with.
Sure. Well, that's called being an adult.
I don't know about that.
I think.
But I mean,
a lot of being an adult is having to vibe with people or having to coexist with people you don't necessarily vibe with.
I just have been through it, man. Like I just want to know.
Yeah. One of the things that I think sort of drives me crazy, not just about Nebraska or I think fan bases in general.
There's no way he calls. You could just tell, man. Dudes like that.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time they're not interested in actually having a conversation. That's why it's difficult to learn anything. But coming up on the show here in just a couple minutes, we're going to talk to Brett Ciancia of Pick Six Previews. Coming up at 9, we've got Mike SCHAEFER, as we always do. And then we'll wrap up the show today with a little Northwestern preview with LOUIE VACCHER from Wildcat Report. Shane,
Louie's got to be like, holy smokes, look where we're at.
I know, 3-1 in conference, 5-2.
How would you?
Thought he was on the hot seat a couple weeks ago.
Well, how about last year?
I mean, for
after
sure.
the first year.
Yeah, first year
goes from
comes out of
COI.
nowhere. Yeah, to a hot seat.
Yeah, to like, oh, maybe this guy's pretty good.
Starts on the hot seat, and now all of a sudden he's tied for second in the Big Ten.
He might be pretty good.
We will talk to LOUIE at 9:45 to get the inside scoop on Northwestern. We will be back here with Brett Ciancia. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
Fearless savings this October at Edwards Chevrolet with 0 down sign and drive deals waiting for you. Get $12,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Chevrolet Silverado 1 LT Crew Cab 4-wheel drive or lease for $555 a month with 0 down, strength and upfront savings. Or drive the 2025 Chevrolet Trax front-wheel drive LS, lease starting at $299 a month. Sign and drive with 0 down, smart design and modern tech that fits your lifestyle. Don't wait. Fearless October savings are happening now at Edwards Chevrolet.
Yeah, it wasn't good enough. I mean, I really, I think I've always been really, I don't know what to say to you guys other than it wasn't good enough. I mean, I'm pissed off. I'm pissed off at the coaches. I'm pissed off at myself. I'm mad. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to say it any other way other than that. You know, to be quite honest with you, like, we did, Emmett ran the ball hard. You know, they blitzed us. We never made them pay. we got some big sets a couple times. We ran by. We have the ball in the red zone twice in the first half. You got to score 2 touchdowns. It's a pretty simple game to me. Run the ball, stop the run, protect your quarterback, affect their quarterback. Don't beat yourself with penalties. We get down the red zone, we dive on a guy's head. We get a targeting call. We have them up to 4th and 3. We get a defensive holding. You can't beat yourself with penalties. We haven't taken the ball away on defense in 2 weeks. Those things all fall on me. I'm the head coach, and so I don't mean to minimize it. I don't know how to answer it with you. You're exactly right. Everything that you guys are going to bring up, you guys are right about. To be quite honest, I'm bringing the same things up. You can't give up 9 sacks. You got to run the football. You got to convert third downs. I think we were 1 for 5 on third down in the first half, right? And if they're going to blitz you, then you have to get the ball. But they also sacked us in a 3-man rush. They all, so it's not any one thing. It was just bad football.
We're in the neighborhood, just down the street. With a wide variety of home equity products to help you create a relaxing oasis. So you can kick back and relax in comfort. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Now, the owner of Pick 6 Previews, Brett Ciancia.
Then a pass is picked off. Pick 6. Pick 6 to the checkerboard end zone.
Pick 6 Previews, the #1 most accurate college football preview.
Go, big man, go! It's a pick 6.
Pick 6 Previews with Brett Ciancia.
Pick 6. Pick 6. Give me all of them.
Here is Brett Ciancia.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Brett Ciancia of Pick 6 Previews to talk a little bit of National College Football. Brett, what's going on, buddy?
Guys, thanks for having me on. Wild week last week, and excited to break it down with you guys.
Yeah, it's one of the best things, and if you're not subscribing and a Patreon, I can't remember the term you used for Pick 6, Brett, but my favorite part after we talk to you is the weekly emails where I can, because I'm super slow, so
the Pick 6 Plus,
being color coded and the rankings and the scheme, it's like
phenomenal.
Like, what else do you do, Brett? I mean, I assume you're happily married. You got to be a hubby too. Like, what?
I'll tell you what. Well, thanks for the.
I was around for the engagement. I do know that.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to spread yourself out a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks. Yeah, that's Pick 6 Plus, the weekly stats and info package going out every Tuesday. I'll tell you, Damon, my schedule's really Saturday to Tuesday. That's kind of my little work week. It's wild. I mean, I still have some stuff to work on Wednesday, Thursday, but Thursday, Friday is my weekend, and then Saturday kicks off the next work week. So, it's a unique schedule, but we make it work. And
the fact it's color coded is really good for a guy like me who struggles. Unlike Ravi says, I can read. I struggle to see. Those are two completely different things.
Also struggles to focus sometimes a little bit. Got a little of that ADHD going on.
It's fine.
Absolutely. But I mean, I always found that the season goes so quick. I mean, you're trying to catch up on all these games that happen. So hopefully this resource, Pick 6 Plus, helps you catch up every Tuesday in your email inbox. So we're really enjoying this season. I can't believe it's already 8 weeks in, but the conference races are starting to crystallize a little bit, and I can't wait to break it down with you guys.
Yeah, let me ask you about a team that they were flying under the radar, and then they kind of took a loss, and I still think they're flying under the radar. And I'm asking this because I'm driving home with my kiddo from practice, yesterday. He's a big Gunner Stockton guy, and he believes in Georgia and thinks they're kind of laying in the cut. I want to start there because and I say this to you every 3 weeks, right? I try to watch them. For as good as a team as I think they could be, and they always get better as the season goes along, do we need to be paying more attention to Georgia?
Yeah, well, with Georgia, you're right. It's not their dynasty tier teams from a couple years back. This isn't your NFL caliber defense. I was calling them the NFL's 33rd team for a couple years back then, and I think that it's not really that. But what they still are is that resiliency that you need out of a championship team. They find the plays that you have to make. They rallied last week. They were down against Auburn, down 10-0. They made that goal line stand, and Gunner Stockton was perfect in the second half. And then here in a shootout type game against Ole Miss, they just kept punching back. They were trailing for most of it. And then, of course, the defense came up with a couple key stops in the fourth quarter, and Stockton took advantage. So I think what you have here, it's not the most dominant team in America, but they still have that resiliency that you need to go make a title run. So sitting there with one loss, I think they're still going to be a playoff team and likely hosting a game in Athens.
Brett, kind of a strange question here. What was your favorite game over the weekend?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think you go look at the Big 12 a little bit. Texas Tech, Arizona State was just a wild back and forth fourth quarter.
Right.
It was kind of sleepy for the first three, but then all the fireworks came in the fourth quarter. Sam Leavitt back from his injury led a gutsy drive to win it. Utah BYU.
I would say kind of same thing with Utah BYU in the Big 12.
Utah BYU, all the emotions packed into that game, and of course the fourth quarter craziness. Looking across the landscape here, I mean, USC Notre Dame was interesting. It might not have been the best game, but seeing USC come all the way back, take a lead, and then the very next play, Notre Dame house the kickoff. I mean, that's got to hurt if you're a USC fan. And then some upsets. It was the week of the upset. You had Louisville go beat Miami. Ole Miss went down as an undefeated team, and Texas Tech, who I thought was untouchable, guys, coming into this week.
Yeah.
Forward. Thought they were untouchable, and then Arizona State bounced back from their injury and dealt them a loss. So wild week, but there was plenty to choose from.
So when you're kind of readjusting, and today coincidentally is Tuesday, so I'll be checking my email. When you're kind of reshuffling, how do you not overreact to, like, let's say a week ago we were talking about how complete Miami was, and then they get beat outright as a double-digit fave. Do you overcorrect, or are the numbers just what the numbers say?
Well, yeah, I think you got to just look at it as one game. I mean, college football is college football. You're going to have an upset laying in there, and I think the styles of the loss are important to me. Whether it was a blowout, if they were really pushed around physically, or did the guy throw 5 interceptions? You know what I mean? So Carson Beck historically had not done that, and I think he's going to get it cleaned up. That is a little alarming that it was coming off a bye week, that they had 13 days to prepare for this. And Louisville should have had a target on their back. I mean, that's a solid program. It's Jeff Brom. This was not Wake Forest or something. So that is a little alarming. But I think in both the cases of Miami and of Texas Tech, I am not really reacting too much to their losses. I think I want to give them each a mulligan. It is college football after all. I still have them as the favorites within those conferences. So we'll see. Now, if you do it twice in a row to me, 3 times in a row, then you start to downgrade. But I think right now I still like what you have in both those teams.
Who's number 4? Actually, let's go. I could guess who 3 is. Who's 3, 4, and 5 in the Big Ten?
3, 4, and 5. Well, that's assuming that Ohio State, Indiana 1-2 punch there at the
Correct.
top. I would go with Oregon, number 3. I think that what you have there is a really complete team. They're playing solid football. They just destroyed Rutgers. I know it's Rutgers, but they beat them by 550 yards. It's like incredible margins there. And then I think for this question for 4 and 5, it's like you have perfect units on one side of the ball. You have USC with their offense. You have Michigan with their defense. So, and now I will say that Michigan is improving their offense too. Now that Bryce Underwood's getting acclimated, he's playing very efficient football. No mistakes from him. Donovan McCauley is emerging at receiver. So I think to answer your question, I would put Oregon a definite number 3. And those are my 3 playoff teams from the conference. I think that's it this year for them. 4 and 5 I would have is USC and Michigan. They got to clean up other parts of the ball, but they're close there with 5-2 records.
Brett, if either of those teams wins out, do you think they can make the playoff, or do you think it is a pretty hard cap at 3 for the Big Ten this year?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If they win out, both of those teams could be 10-2. The reason I was have them below the line right now is because they both have major matchups coming against what I think are the top teams. So you got Michigan, of course, with Ohio State. Now, guys, I mean, maybe I should favor them looking back their series with Ohio State. Maybe I'm off on that, but I think right now you can assume that they would lose the Ohio State game. That would put them 9-3. I think they'd be out. And then USC in the same sense, they have a game still with Oregon, and I would definitely favor Oregon in that one. So, but yeah, if either team flips that script and wins out, they're definitely. And if you're 10-2 from the Big Ten with a couple ranked wins, I think that's a playoff resume.
So you brought up things happening 3 times in a row, and you need to pay a little bit more of attention. Are we paying attention to UCLA yet, or no?
Yeah, definitely. It's quite a story. I mean, with Tim Skipper and then the play caller Jerry Neuheisel, what they're pulling off is incredible. Because you look how broken that offense was the first month of the year, and then to see like a light switch go off, and they're playing motivated, they're gutsy, they're resilient in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I'm impressed. Now they have to go against the Indiana machine this week, but I guess they've already been the underdog for a couple weeks, so they could maybe do it again. But no, I think Indiana's gonna finish this win streak. But I am impressed with what they pulled off in such short notice.
What do you do with Ole Miss?
Yeah, Ole Miss coming in, I wasn't so sold on as an undefeated team. I think coming in, they were still like 10th for me in the power ratings, even though they were 7-0 coming in. I think they have a great offense. I think Trinidad Chambliss, I told you guys last week, he would have had to have had a Manziel performance to pull off this Georgia game. And really through 3 quarters, he did.
Almost did.
Yeah. Through 3 quarters, I think they scored on almost every drive and gave them a puncher's shot against Georgia. So I'm really impressed with the offense. Great playmakers at receiver, great play caller with Kiffin, a good schemer. The defense has to be cleaned up, and that's going to hold them back here as they make a playoff push. I have them projected to lose against Oklahoma. That would put them at 10-2 with the head-to-head loss to Oklahoma. So that looks like a bubble team for me for playoff. I think the SEC might get 4 or 5 in there. If they get 5, Ole Miss would be that 5th. I think it's going to still be tough to get 5 into a bracket, but so they got to clean up their defense a little bit.
What are we doing with Oklahoma?
It's kind of the exact answer, but flipped. I love that defense. I think it could be the best in America, along with Ohio State. Now the offense, they need to just on a per play basis. My numbers don't like it. I know Mateer is a playmaker, and that some of these stats are with him out of the lineup or still rehabbing. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah, they just got to improve the offense a bit. So if you took Oklahoma's defense and paired it with Ole Miss's offense, I mean, you'd have an undefeated national champion. So both sides of the ball, they got to fix a little bit. But I see them making the playoff. I moved them into my playoff projection. You'll see that in today's edition of Pick 6 Plus coming out. I've got them in there at 10-2. But with a brutal schedule they've gone through, I think they'd be in the bracket 10-2.
What do you do with Georgia Tech?
I still don't know what to do with them. Them and BYU.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Those are the mysteries, is Georgia Tech and BYU, because they're undefeated. And, I love that on a resume. You can't argue undefeated. But in terms of who they've played and how they've played them in terms of margins, it's been tough. I mean, Georgia Tech, a lot of one-score wins. BYU almost every week is in a miracle fourth quarter win. And, you give them credit for doing it. They have similar quarterbacks too, with Haynes King and Barrett Bachmeier. They both shoulder 15, 20 carries in key games, dual threat quarterbacks, bigger frame guys and good running backs. Yeah. So I don't know what you do with them. I mean, right now I have them favored in every game besides Georgia, the finale. But when you look at how much they're favored by, it's like a point or two every time. So they still have coin flip games coming. I still think Miami's your best team over there. I have Louisville number 2 and Georgia Tech number 3 in the ACC.
What's your model say about South Florida?
South Florida, yeah, love the offense. Alex Golesh, he's coached himself into maybe the carousel.
Trying to get a job.
Yeah, it's a matter of who wants to go with him. And I think he came from Tennessee. He was on the Heupel staff that lit up Alabama with back in 2022, and Hyatt had those 3 touchdowns. I think he was the OC, and he's brought that offense down to South Florida. So when he has the talent, when he has the resources, that offense can really thrive. This week with Memphis is going down, I've projected USF back into the playoff bracket as the G5 team. They have to go earn it this week head-to-head with Memphis. I think it's in Memphis too. I think USF wins it there and then wins the AAC to get that bid. So they're back in the bracket.
So after Iowa State beats BYU this week, they'll go to 3-2 in the conference, and BYU goes to 4-1. Does that put Cincy at the top?
Yeah, I like you're calling the upset right away. In fact, I thought it would be an upset given the rankings and the records, but when you look over at Vegas, I think they're a slight favorite at home there. That's the Matt Campbell effect. I love that coaching staff. It's Rocktober with Rocco Beckett quarterback, so yeah, it's going to be good. But yeah, if you take down BYU, you're sitting there with Cincinnati, number 1 in the entire Big 12. I don't think anybody had that. What you have with Cincinnati, and Nebraska fans got to see it live in Kansas City, is a great offense, a great quarterback with Brennan Sorsby. He had 4 more touchdowns Saturday. Really a dynamic offense, but it's kind of an old-fashioned Big 12 where they score a bunch. They're super fast paced. They can't stop anybody. So if you like points, you better tune into the Baylor-Cincinnati game this week. That might go over like 85 combined points. It's going to be awesome.
Brett, is there, when you're looking at Vanderbilt, is there anything the numbers tell you that say, hey, this might be a little bit, I don't want to say smoke and mirrors, because I think the wins are real, but is there anything that indicates you they might regress a little bit, or am I just looking at the helmet too much?
Yeah, it's one of those where you try and hide the logo, because when you look at the stat sheet and you look at their resume, and they're really impressive, especially the offense. I think their strength is on offense. You have Pavia creating all these crazy plays in the pocket. Great offensive line play. You saw some highlights circulating on Twitter that these linemen, they're nasty. They make great blocks, both pass protection, run blocking. Really no weakness on the offense. I think if you want to nitpick and find a weakness, you look on defense. The pass defense giving up a lot of yards. It's bend don't break, but they've been breaking a little bit on defense. So I would say if they clean up that side of the ball. Now looking forward, they still have some huge tests. I mean, a lot of coin flip games in terms of lines. A point or two difference here with Missouri this week. Same with the Texas game coming up, and Auburn's close. So a lot of close games. Tennessee, that's within a point or two. So let's see. I mean, a lot of tight margin games. If they can continue to be so resilient, then, I mean, it sounds weird, but they could play themselves into a playoff spot.
So I'm trying to. I know it's not our job to play the matchups, right? You play the line, I think, if you want to have success in this business, handicapping. But there's 2 teams I think are on a bit of upset watch. I look at Texas going to Stark Vegas, and man, the Gamecocks, this is the kind of game when they host Bama, they're getting double digits. I don't know, man. It just seems like one of these teams is right for the pickings. Agree, 1, both, none. Mississippi getting 7, South Carolina getting 12.
I think your live underdog there would be Mississippi State. It's in Starkville. They've been close in a bunch of their games this year. And Texas, they barely survived against Kentucky last week. Kentucky, we thought, was the worst team in the conference by far. I'm not so sold on Arch Manning in that offense yet. I know they had a couple nice throws against Oklahoma, but I don't know. I think you're going to have a 1-score game regardless. So that puts you into the upset watch. With Alabama,
doesn't South Carolina have one of these in them? It seems like they do.
They usually do, but I don't really like the South Carolina team this year. The offense is broken. Can't run the ball. They just fired their offensive line coach. They're not getting the most out of Lenora Sellers. It's a shame because he is an unbelievable talented quarterback, and it's just going to waste. I mean, they can't block anybody, so he's scrambling. He's a great scrambler too, but like he has to do everything, and it's just not enough. Defense on opportunistic like it usually is.
It seems like it should be 22, not 12. It seems too low.
Yeah, and I'll give you this too. Alabama, really tough spot. They're coming off 4 ranked games in a row. That's just got to weigh on a team. And then you're going into South Carolina. So if I had to pick one as your upset, I would go with Mississippi State, Texas. But I do not like that Alabama spot either. Coming off 4 emotional ranked wins, they have that cigar hangover from the Tennessee game. So I don't trust South Carolina though at all.
Bro, let's take in the SEC for a second here. Tell me what a win would mean for each team. Texas A&M on the road at LSU.
Well, Texas A&M, a win for them. That just continues their undefeated season. This is one of their remaining tough games. They're trying to position for a playoff spot and maybe even go further, maybe an SEC championship performance because, this will get them to 5-0 within the league. I think I'd have them favored the rest of the way. With LSU, they really need a win. I mean, Brian Kelly really needs a win. He's starting to lose it down there, lose the narrative. They're sitting there 5-2. The fan base is pretty upset with him. Offensively, they've been stuck in the mud for a couple games in a row now, most of the season, actually. I thought coming off that bye week that the offense would look cleaner. I thought Garrett Nussmeier would have improved and at full health, and it's just not looking solid. So if you lose to Vanderbilt and A&M back-to-back and drop to 5-3, that's not a good look here in his fourth season. They gave him all the resources in the world, the highest-paid coordinator in college football history, all the NIL money to sign the #1 transfer class in America. It doesn't look like 5-3, so that'd be a big problem for him. So I think LSU needs it more, but I like Texas A&M's story better.
If LSU doesn't make the playoff, do you think he gets fired?
I think so. I mean, this is not a program that waits around. This would have been that would be 4 straight years, all 4 of his without a playoff bid. 2 of those being in the 12-team playoff era. I think that's inexcusable. Like I said, for the reasons they gave him every resource possible. I mean, the highest paid coordinator, all the NIL money. They got Garrett Nussmeier to stay out of the NFL. He was projected high this time last year. So, if you can't win it and get in the playoff with this kind of setup, then that's going to be a problem. I think they move on.
So I'm going to go back to Missouri and Vandy just because, again, it's another 2.5, just like, Vandy was the slight fave last week. What's it mean for the other side, though, with what Missouri has left on the schedule with Texas A&M looming?
Yeah, their November heats up. They've got Texas A&M and then a road trip to Oklahoma. So they don't have many more mulligans left on the schedule. I think they're going to go into Nashville and beat Vanderbilt here. When you watch Missouri play, you're seeing all those great years of transfers and recruiting. It's really the best they've ever recruited at that school's history. And you're seeing it now. I mean, it's one thing to look at recruiting stats on paper, but then when you turn it on and watch these guys, I mean, they have some freaks on their defensive line. They have some freaks at receiver, and they have some
got
hard
a nice
runners
tandem in the backfield.
They have a really physical running back tandem. Bo Pribula's getting it done too at quarterback. So they just look the part, Missouri. So I'm going to go with them. And that's no slight at Vanderbilt. I think you're seeing a really special story over there. But I really like this Missouri front, and they're going to make enough plays to win it.
As you look through the Big Ten and bouncing back over to our neck of the woods a little bit here, and you look at not the top of the conference, which we already kind of talked about, who do you think outside of the top 5 is the best of the middle of the pack?
Well, we're going to find that answer in Seattle on a 3:30 kickoff when you have Washington versus Illinois, because at certain times of the year, both these teams have showed me something, and then at other times they've come up really flat. Illinois, when they played Duke, that was really impressive. They forced 5 fumbles. There might have been 3 guys. Don't quote me on that, but it was very opportunistic defense against Duke. And then they go out and they lose by 59 points to Indiana. So, they're hot and cold. They did play Ohio State tough, but no moral victories. Washington, their offense at times looks incredible. Damon Williams was looking like a Heisman candidate until he played against Michigan. He threw 3 interceptions in a span of 5 snaps. It's just he came up really small against Michigan. So, both these teams have flashed for me. I was high on both. And then now you go head-to-head. I think that's your battle for 5th place there in the Big Ten.
That is our guy, Brett Ciancia, Pick 6 Previews. Brett, appreciate the time as always. Enjoy this week of games.
All right, thanks, guys. Enjoy it. Have a good one.
That's Brett Ciancia, Pick 6 Previews.
Seems like, I pick one of these every week.
Yeah.
It seems like that Bama game is way too low. Way too
the one I thought was way too low is Mississippi State.
7? Yeah.
6.5.
Well, both of them are
they're both low.
They're both low.
But I look at, maybe I give Texas too much credit. Maybe I assume Vegas is going to give Texas too much credit. But 6.5 against Mississippi State stinks to high heavens.
Yeah. So no worse than 12 against South. South Carolina has a losing record.
Down to 11.5 now.
And Bama, and people love Bama.
Yeah. Bama's out. Somebody was talking to me about this the other day, and they go, how do I reconcile what I saw week 1 from Alabama to what I've seen the rest of the season from Alabama? Because They got their butt kicked against Florida State. Florida State has been bad basically since then. Alabama's been incredible. And they go, it doesn't even, they're like, it feels like that. He's like, I can't get over what I saw in week 1 when reconciling either of these two teams. And he goes, because it didn't feel like they just got schemed to death. He said it felt like they actually got their butts whipped.
Yeah. But I mean, Florida State was the much more physical team.
Yeah. And what I tried to explain to him, and maybe this goes back to Nebraska, maybe it doesn't, is when you're confident in what you're trying to execute, it allows you to be more physical. It gives you the opportunity to be more physical when you have a sense of confidence. Is that right or wrong?
Well, I listen, it's a perspective.
Okay.
I don't know if it's right or wrong just because you asked me a question earlier. I thought it's a good question where if you don't execute the scheme, you don't really know, but you do need to feel good about
the scheme going in.
About what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
but if you don't execute it at a high level, you don't give yourself a chance to see if it was a good scheme or not either.
Yeah, but so, I mean, not to get all coachy, but there's just some things, right, where I'll say, listen, you got to read the face. Like if I'm a linebacker, second level, and I can read face masks, like I know they're trying to scoop me. Like if I'm getting scooped, there's a way I've got to play it. I know as a D lineman, if I see 2 down blocks, like I know I got to get down. I can't get vertical. So that's not a stunt. That's not anything other than fundamental. So sometimes I have to pit just basic fundamentals versus what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish.
So basically the things that you would do regardless of what the scheme is.
You have to, that's a
right.
separate.
Like this is your baseline execution.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's being called.
Yeah, I see those 2 guys leave. Yeah. I know I better get my bunda in their hip pocket.
So here's my question then, right? So
they're not teaching you
to get vertical when guys.
Yeah.
So if I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, I've got my baseline.
Like they're not teaching you to miss open throws.
Right. 100%. Yeah, they're not teaching you to overthrow Dane Key when he's run down the yes. They're not teaching Isaiah Hunter to not go high point a ball when he's open down the sideline. Whoever it is, right? So you've got your baseline of execution regardless of what's being called. And then layer on top of that the actual scheme. So is it fair to say that there is a level of mental toughness or mental stamina required to continue your baseline level of execution when you don't love what's being called?
Okay. Ask me one more time.
Okay. So with your baseline level of execution,
mental stamina, if I don't like what's being
and then you've got the scheme on top of it.
I'm trying to think what that would the players know. So, okay. I think there's a thing where it can be too much.
Okay.
I don't know if there's if they're cognizant enough to say, oh, I don't like that.
So let me put it this way. That's fair. That makes sense. Like in real time, you don't know.
I don't, you know what I like? That's interesting. So there are times where I'm thinking, hey, let's pressure this week. Let's have some fun and turn them loose, or let's just stay basic. This, so they can play fat. So there are those things, and I think they know. But I don't know if I said, if we're talking and we said, hey, let's introduce 3 new things, which we would try not to do, would they be like, man, this game plan sucks? Versus, I don't feel like I have a good enough grasp of it. Do you know what I mean?
So let me ask it this way, because maybe their feeling about the quality of the game plan isn't the right way to put this. Maybe their belief in the preparation process.
I don't believe Nebraska went into this game plan and they thought, you know what, let's only get EJ X amount of touches.
Sure. But
now, if that were the case, I think those guys would realize, hey, I'm not in the game plan this week.
Yeah. Or let's say, okay,
that's different.
Let's say it's a little vanilla on like the defensive line and what they're trying to do in terms of pressures.
Okay.
Our guy, is there like, would some guys notice, hey, it doesn't feel like I'm going to be given the opportunities to get loose, and then they get outside of themselves a little bit, trying to get vertical when they shouldn't.
I could see that.
Like trying to do too much because the game plan doesn't allow for what they want to do.
I could see that. I mean, I've had players say, hey, listen, you know, can I get on some pressures this week? Or why don't you blitz me? Or
I mean, it happens for basketball. Like, hey, well, how come I'm not getting any screens to get my shots up or whatever? Right?
That's a thing.
That does a lot of times affect a player's execution of their basics. Whether it should or not, that's a thing.
That's a thing.
That's human nature, right? It's like when you talk about big men, it's like, hey, you got to feed them a little bit so they play defense better.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, well, those things aren't related, but they are.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I think you could clearly tell. I think you could clearly tell Minnesota was targeting a couple guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? Like, it was a concerted effort. Hey, let's go at this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's run at this guy.
So if you're not taking, let's say it seems like they didn't take Minnesota seriously enough. Is that fair or no?
Is it fair? Hey, Shane.
I want to make sure I'm not oversimplifying.
Hang on, Shane. Okay. Remember those? Do you have a couple clips ready for me?
I do.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Funny you asked this question. This is us real time yesterday morning.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is the first one. Go ahead, let it play, Shane. They didn't match Minnesota's juice, and I'm telling you,
you got to match the energy.
Sure as I'm sitting here, sure as I'm sitting here, like they just think when Nebraska comes to town
that they can punk them.
Yep, that's the most
that sucks.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
because like whatever else, Nebraska got punked.
That's the part that really hurts my feelings. We can make it about a lot of other things,
and there are a lot of other things.
Minnesota just
they whooped
simply played.
They whooped them
harder.
Yes, and that is the most frustrating thing.
Distractions, my ass. That team knows right. Whatever Coach Rhule told them, the team believe. Don't give me that distraction. Chris.
No, that was a Minnesota thing. I thought
that's low hanging fruit for fans and media. Listen. I get the human. You know what's just as much human nature. Because I heard this a lot. What's human nature? Like you hear this, that, and the other. It's human nature. Why can you'll naturally be? You know what else is human nature?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody's trying to kick your ass, you fight back.
Yeah,
that's human nature.
Yeah,
Shane, play coach, especially in that sport. So don't give me that. Play coach.
I'll tell you exactly how I really feel, Mitch. They were excited to play. They were fired up. There was juice on the sidelines. There was energy. We came out early on, and it's just the football wasn't good enough. And I think once Minnesota started to assert their physicality, I don't know that we were ready for a fist fight. I think we thought it was going to be a little bit easier. That's sad to say, but that's why it falls on me. A lot of times get up here and say this is my fault. I told the team the entire week that this was a tough physical team and this would be a battle. And I had even assistant coaches like, man, why do you keep crowning them? I'm tired of that, man. Like you better respect every team you play, especially when you're at Nebraska. Like people are getting excited for you. So I'm not letting us off the hook by saying, hey, we weren't, you know what I mean? Like that's just like they played better than us. Credit to them, credit to them.
Yeah, so they didn't take them seriously enough. I think that's a fair assessment.
We can make it about a lot of other things. I had no idea. I told you I haven't said one word to him since he made the comment about did me wearing white affect my job and it being a BS narrative, except he actually said the words.
Mm-hmm.
There are just certain things that come when you do this long enough that you can see. You can make it about scheme. You can make it about a lot of other things. But at the end of the day,
mm-hmm.
It's a sport that you're afforded the luxury to fight back.
Mm.
You just are. You don't have to take it. You don't. It's arguably the most beautiful part of that game, of the game of football. You get to solve problems with aggression. And so you can chicken or the egg it, and I'm not sure on your answer. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm answering it to the best of my ability. If you think Christian Jones has not asked me, Coach, man, this is a 3-4 front. I'm in pass coverage. Like, I want to get back to rushing the passer.
Mm-hmm.
I understand. I do. We've had those are real conversations. Yeah. So there is a part of what you're saying about if they don't receive it well,
mm-hmm.
then you're going to maybe play a certain way. It's our job
mm-hmm.
to, number one, put them in a position to have success. But I also want to coach myself into having options too.
Mm-hmm.
So this may be how we have to play versus how you like to play. We better make sure we have the right guys to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, that makes sense.
Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, because it's a good question. I'm just telling you, at the end of the game, when you play football,
mm-hmm.
you're afforded the luxury to fix it if you want to.
Let me ask 2 questions here. I think they're related. Okay, number one, let's say the assistant coaches, and myself were right. Let's say Minnesota actually wasn't very good, but they kicked Nebraska's ass, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you're watching film, you're like, man, this team isn't very good. As a coach, how do you convince the players that this team can still hurt you?
Just depend. I mean,
because that's a real problem, right?
Yeah, 100%, man.
Right? Because I can look at Minnesota and I can say, hey, out of the teams Nebraska's played, out of the non-Akron, Houston Christians, I thought Minnesota was the worst of those 4 teams.
The safest way that I can answer the question
mm-hmm.
is
5 teams. Sorry,
what we always talk about, whether it's me or our staff or my personal life or whatever. Right? Either I'm being the best I can be or I'm not.
Okay. Fair.
Right? So that was my response. That was my mini meltdown to Brian, right? When he said, well, the scheme is blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sure, man. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
But you still have to try and operate at high level.
That will be for the coaches
mm-hmm.
to decide. Then you ask the follow-up question. Well, if the players don't like the scheme,
is it harder?
Or is it harder for them to function at a high level?
Mm-hmm.
And so I go back to the individuality of it.
Yeah.
Either I'm operating to the best of my ability, even with what's told to me to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think a law enforcement or, firemen or people that don't have a lot of wiggle room but have to think under duress.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And an easy way to look at it is, if I'm you work for the fire department,
mm-hmm.
right? You see a couple families, the house is on fire, a family sitting outside, and you got a couple of options,
mm-hmm.
right? I can be, and I wrote this down, right? Because there's all sorts of responses, right? If I want sympathy,
mm-hmm.
right, it can affect the way that I'm going to do my job. Hey, what happened? Who's at fault? Is it like, I agree with how you're assessing it. Is there anybody else left in there? Oh man, I feel what you feel. It may affect how I do my job.
Mm-hmm.
If I have like apathy or I'm kind of indifferent, I can get the information. I can assess it, but I still know that I have a job to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'm not as much paying attention. Just give me a lay of the land. Hey, where's the hot spot? That. Like, it's going to affect how I approach the house, given what my mentality is.
Mm-hmm.
So you always, whether it's empathy, sympathy, or apathy, you need all 3 to function as a human. But situationally,
mm-hmm.
it's, am I operating at peak performance? So you get the game plan.
Yeah.
How do I feel about it?
Mm-hmm.
How is it affecting how I'm going to go about?
Am I feeling sorry for myself? Am I apathetic to it?
What? That's what I'm telling you.
We say apathy and it's a bad thing sometimes, but
it's
not
not.
in this. Not in this.
It's not.
Yeah, not in this context, right?
Because I'm not going to be.
You're
I'm
just
not going to be
removing the emotion,
and
from
it doesn't.
the situation.
And it doesn't affect my decision making.
Yeah.
The problem is when we hear coaches talk or we assess players or we do stuff like that, we give it our attributes,
mm-hmm.
as though that's how they should function.
Right.
It's not that way though.
Can I? Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
So here's the second question, the follow-up. Let's say you've gotten through the week, you didn't take Minnesota seriously enough in prep, and then you get punched in the face when you get to the game. How realistic is it for players to be able to turn it around after the game has started. That's the fight back part, right?
Yep.
So
that's
the solve.
That's the solve problems with aggression, which makes sure you have to have the right guys, which makes sure that like your culture has to breed that.
So because if let's say you're a defensive lineman, since we've used that as an example a couple of times, let's say you're a defensive lineman and you're thinking, I should solve problems with aggression.
Yeah, at some point, whether Judy's on the move or he isn't, he has to take it personal that they're going at him.
Here's the question.
Does that
for
make
sure.
sense?
For sure. If I'm picked on, I'm going to take that personal,
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
So
at some point,
here's the
Donovan
question.
Jones has got to be like, hey, man.
Quit getting across my face.
Or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right? At some point, Marquez Watson Trent has to be like, listen, I got to read. This guy's trying to – I need to take this on a certain way.
Third-level guys be like, hey, I'm going to stop being put in a position where a guy has a two-way go before I get to the hole.
Yeah.
Right? So, but let's say you're I don't think Nebraska did this for the most part in terms of solving problems or trying to solve problems with aggression and it backfiring. But theoretically, let's say you're a defensive lineman, you're trying to solve problems with aggression that leads you to getting too vertical. Is that also an option? Like losing your fundamentals in the search for aggression?
It happens.
Right?
Yeah, it happens.
So, like, it's a pretty fine line still.
Yeah, it happens.
Okay.
But
that's
for
the most part,
that's where it happens.
That's where coaching comes in.
Yeah.
But also for the most part, I would say outside of maybe defensive linemen getting too vertical, I didn't see Nebraska's defense being overly aggressive and that being the issue.
Yeah.
Fair?
It wasn't.
Like, it didn't seem like they were making aggressive mistakes. It seemed like they were just making mistakes.
So anecdotally, I think I told this, and I think I said this to our guys,
Mhm.
right? Where I said, hey, I was doing the breakdowns for the long run.
Mm-hmm.
God, this feels like Michigan.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm saying the same things with Michigan. Even
I think you texted
the X's
me about
and
it later.
O's, the whole deal.
Yeah.
It's the same run that Ray had again for Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
It's very similar deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, anecdotally, it seems like the runs of 25 yards or more that go for touchdowns all have a common theme.
Yeah.
Anecdotally.
Yeah.
That's not – there's two things that can happen to your question.
Mm-hmm.
You can say, well, why don't they just play it different? Or I could come back and say, listen, this is just base fundamentals.
So you need somebody in there that can play
And if
it.
you've seen it before,
Mhm.
you can fix it as a player.
Yeah.
You might say, hey, why don't you just play it a different way? They clearly aren't getting it done.
What I would
That's the given.
So what I would
Do you understand what I'm telling you? Like, that's the
do.
give and take of why we assess it the way we do as a fan base.
There is another option, though. I would say, hey, if that's base fundamentals on how you play that, I feel like we've learned that guy isn't going to do it. Put somebody else in. That's my other option. That's usually my go-to, if I'm being honest. Like, if I don't like how something's being played.
You think it doesn't make it doubly difficult for me?
Oh, no, I get it. I'm not trying to put you in a bad spot.
You're not. Like, I could listen.
You know what I mean?
I've done a lot worse.
But
I
like,
could own it.
And it's not specific to what makes it difficult for you, because there's been lots of other things where I'm like, hey, if that guy isn't going to do the thing that is pretty basic and as far as your football game plan, go get me somebody that will. Because I said this last year. Hey, I'm already losing with them. I might as well try and lose without them.
Listen. Let's see what happens against Northwestern.
That's TB. I'm Ravi Lulla. Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Drive Into Fall event is on at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point, and Council Bluffs. Get $18,000 off MSRP on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn 4x4 plus 3.9% APR for 72 months. Fearless fall savings with a massive inventory this October. Or upgrade to adventure with the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4. These starting at $299 a month with zero down. Big inventory, bigger savings. Hurry to Edwards Ram and Jeep Village Point and Council Bluffs.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you to give our friends over at Next Gen Male Medical a call. I've been working with them on my weight loss and kind of working on a little bit of recovery stuff as well. You know, I'm getting a little older, pushing 40 these days, but I still like to get out there and try and be active as much as possible. And Next Gen can help you out, whether it's their peptides, testosterone replacement, weight loss. They have you covered to get you feeling the way you want to feel, to keep the lifestyle you want to have. Give them a call, 402-614-9700. Whether it's the testosterone, my Sermorelin, or any other peptides you want to give a try, they can help you out to make sure you're feeling your best. That's Next Gen Male Medical, 614-9700. Let's get to a phone call real quick here. Got Captain on the line. Captain, what's going on?
Good morning, y'all. How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
You know, I wanted to say that, just like I said on the chat, it is my fault for not preparing myself for something that I knew that was going to happen when it came to Minnesota. BB, it has nothing. I don't know if it has anything to do with the coach, Damon, because we were talking about this in 2014 with Minnesota. So I'm like confused on the Minnesota thing, but you know I hate losing to Minnesota. When it comes, Charlie McBride said a couple things. First was that you need to prepare. If you want to win something, you need to play every game like that is for the championship, and we aren't doing that. We haven't done that. But I was talking with Big 8 last night, and you know, Damon, I didn't care if you were the running back, Big 8, LP, Amon. I didn't care if Brooke was quarterback or Tommy. I just wanted you guys to win and win the championship. It didn't matter. And so I'm talking with Big 8, and I'm telling him about, we're not Rhule fans. You know, we think he doesn't have good pre-snap reads. He's not good in the pocket. A little reluctant to pull the trigger on passes now. But I really want a breakdown from you, Damon. Why do we not, because Big 8 asked me this, why is there no packages for TJ to come in and at least have a couple packages for him just to change things up like there was with Brooke and Tommy?
So, I mean, two things. Number one, you know, I think that competition was relatively close, and so I think once T. Fraze got hurt and Brooke was playing, he had earned the opportunity in real games to get some work. So I think that's number one. I think that's the difference between TJ and Dylan, where I think we assume because of Houston Christian and right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, this isn't. I'm just telling you why I think it happens, right? So whether it's Akron or Houston Christian, I don't know if you've seen enough where you're thinking, all right, if this package is worth sitting down one of our best players. Now, whether we think he's that good or not isn't real. Like, we obviously can't control that. You know what I mean? So, that's up to the staff, and they're not always going to be right. And I think we got to understand that. Just because they do it doesn't make it the right thing to do. I'm just telling you, I think that's why.
But they clearly think Dylan's one of their best players.
Yeah. I'm just telling you why. I think
whether we agree or not.
Whether I agree or not,
I
think that's why it happens. You know what I mean?
Do you think TJ is going to stick around?
So I don't know. I mean, Mike, right now I say yes. Right now I say yes. But, you know, anything is possible with enough money. But I think he knows he's probably close. I think he thinks he's probably going to be pretty good. So I don't know, but right now my answer to that question would be yes.
That's all right, and I mean I accept that. It's legit, but how do we not know it? What's the difference between playing a freshman TJ and a freshman Rhule? Like, you telling me Dylan was a way better freshman than TJ, so TJ can't come in as a freshman? I mean, I had Michael Severe say on Sunday that TJ doesn't probably know the playbook. Like, are you kidding me? TJ doesn't know the playbook?
Yeah,
That's like Rhule saying Dana wasn't prepared. Dana Holgerson wasn't prepared? Get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. And I appreciate the call, Captain. It's a good dude.
Yeah.
But that's Severe's opinion.
Yeah,
I'm not, again, that's not for me to talk about because I don't know why he said what he said.
I don't either.
But to Captain's point, you have to be very specific because some of these guys are pretty special. If Nebraska feels like the Brooke Tommy thing is kind of a misnomer, in my opinion.
How so?
Because I think one guy was clearly better than the other.
Also, can we,
even though both guys were good,
can we revision?
Listen, I'm glad Captain didn't care who was starting, but one guy was better than the other.
So you guys cared who started.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
But if you can say it out loud.
But one guy was better than the others.
Right.
Right.
So
doesn't mean we all weren't capable.
Yeah.
Just one guy was better than the others.
I don't think you're going to get mad at me about this. Like, Lawrence was better than you.
100%.
Right? So you're not mad that like yes, you were capable.
Yeah.
If you had gotten Lawrence's plays and carries, like you would have done really well. Lawrence was better.
100%.
Like, that's just a thing. Like, it's just like, and listen, you know me, I'm Team Brooke till the day I die. Right? Like 100%. But there's also a little bit of a misnomer of how much he played in 95 when games were not decided.
And I think when you ask like older guys, like we're less to Captain's point, we're less about one guy. So I think when we see one guy seemingly catch all the breaks or get this or get that, like it's probably going to rub us the wrong way because that's just not what we're used to. Doesn't make us right or wrong. It's just
not how you operated.
I mean, don't tell Zach Wiegert how great Tommy was. Don't tell Tommy how great Zach was.
Yeah.
Don't tell Ed Stewart how good Baron Miles was.
Products of each other's greatness.
Right? It was just like this. I mean, I just spent all this time with Phil Ellis the other day. Right? The forgotten man. It would be easy for Phil to be bitter.
Yeah. Because he didn't get the love and attention.
But he's not, because he was part of something.
He was part of greatness.
So that's his reference point. So it doesn't make sense for him when he sees one guy seemingly get
like
again, not right or wrong,
just what it is.
It just is what it is.
You know, I do also think, just to Captain's point, and we'll get to Kyle here in a second, is he asked the question, it was freshman Dylan so much better than freshman TJ? That's not the question, because we don't have freshman Dylan anymore. We have sophomore Dylan now, right? So 20 starts Dylan probably is that much better than TJ at that point.
Yeah, and I do understand Captain's point. I would get, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. I would guess Captain is probably saying, how do we, like, why don't we give him more opportunities so we could at least compare apples to apples? And I would say Nebraska's probably saying, we don't have that kind of time.
Yes. Also,
I bet you, like, I think that's what Cappy's
also
saying.
If you, and clearly Captain disagrees, and that's fine, but if as a coaching staff you think Dylan is clearly better, why would you give snaps to somebody you think is clearly worse?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's kind of,
that's probably how they'd answer it.
You know, like that to me is, whether you agree with that assessment or not, it seems to be clearly what they think.
Yeah, but Captain didn't say this, but I do kind of know his heart. I don't always think that coaches play the best players. I think they play the guys that they can trust.
Absolutely.
So sometimes when we can't reconcile
why guys playing
versus what we see, like, it doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah, and
that's just the reality of it.
100%. And we both can speak to that in terms of who you trust. My problem comes into when that trust becomes a detriment because you trust them, they know what to do, but they just physically aren't capable or are not doing it. Right? Like, at a certain point, that's what matters. Let's get to Kyle real quick. Wants to talk about toughness a little bit here. Kyle, what's going on, buddy? What's up, Kyle?
Kyle, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. What's up?
Hey, real quick. So back in your day, DB, when you guys played Pacific, you guys knew that they probably weren't up to your level, but you guys put it to the floor. So what I'm confused about is why players aren't getting ready for a Minnesota. You know, you guys were saying maybe you thought that they didn't take them seriously. What happened to the mentality of just no matter who you're playing, no matter when, no matter where, you just go out there and you just go put it to them.
Yeah.
No matter what.
You want to talk through this, Kyle? Like, stay on? Or
yeah.
Okay, so it's easy. I'm just going to be honest. So 92 and 93, if we're just going to talk about, I don't love this, but you asked the question, so we'll just talk about it. So 92, 93 were kind of different, right? We hadn't really learned to kind of be our own benchmark. We were growing. We still kind of played down to our competition. We weren't winning bowl games. We hadn't really beaten, we didn't beat Florida State, even though we played them close. So it became something that we learned where, all right, if you don't really want this to be about other teams, let's just make it about us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was guys that would say, hey, this doesn't have anything to do with anybody else. It's all about us. But we had to learn it, right? We just didn't. We talk about it now like we came in with it. We didn't. I promise you. Like, we had to kind of learn it. So I'm holding out hope, to your point, that Nebraska will at some point understand. And I think it's because they haven't been good enough, where they don't know what the standard is.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know their own benchmark because they haven't played at a high enough level long enough to say, hey, this doesn't feel right. Because you have to do something at a high enough level where when you don't do it, you can identify it. You can identify it.
Yeah.
They're just not there yet. So I think we're making an I don't know if it's not unfair. I hate to use that word like a crybaby, but I don't think we can ask them to know their own benchmark when they haven't done it long enough at a certain level. I just don't. I think they're unaware.
Yeah.
I think they're unaware.
Yeah, and I hate doing this because a lot of people want to do this and it's ridiculous, but I don't want to compare it to like the best team in college football history. You know, I hate making that comparison, but I'm just saying I felt like they had that mentality no matter what, when, where, who, and is that something that is even learned in the high school ages? Like,
depends on where you go to high school, I think.
It's and I appreciate the call.
Kyle, thank you.
It's legit.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
What he's talking about it's a learned behavior.
I think I have an example though. So how many?
It's a legit conversation, and you can have it as an intellect or mature, without it being about a specific era.
Yeah,
he's just using that as a frame of reference. Nobody's saying
that this is going to
be the 90s. Yeah. I'm just saying, if you ask,
it's a frame of reference everyone's familiar with.
Ask Bruce Pickens about the difference between when he left with Kroll to when he came back to watch us 4 years later. He'll tell you it was something completely different.
Yeah.
That guy was he's top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
But so it's learned.
Yeah.
It's a learned behavior.
Can I ask a question? Because I think there's a game.
And that dude was better than just about anybody. I mean,
I think there's a game where I might be wrong, where I could point to and say, hey, maybe this is where the behavior was learned. Much like I can point to Westside this year and be like, hey, Central, you learned that behavior, right? How many guys on the 95 team were there in 92?
That were playing?
That were important.
Oh, boy. A fair amount.
Okay. Does Iowa State in 92 have a learned behavior part of that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We lost.
19-10, top 10 team in the country, unranked Iowa State.
Yeah.
It wasn't learned in 95. It was learned in 92. That's why 95 happened.
Yeah, that's the frame of reference part. Yeah,
right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like, so you're not comparing. Listen, that Nebraska team went 9-3, right? 8-4, 9-3, very much on the table for this Nebraska team. I'm not saying 3 years from now they're going to be the best college football team of all time. What I'm saying is we're comparing it to the wrong year.
Yeah, that's
right.
I can't argue with that.
You learn it in 92 so you can be what you're going to end up being. Whatever that looks like in 2028, 2027, I have no idea.
And just a year later, like it took Ed Stewart saying in 93, hey, if you don't want to feel like this again, this is what we have to do.
And what did we saw? We saw
it took an L. It took an L for us to get that. So that's why I look forward to Northwestern because it's a teachable moment.
You get to learn what we learned.
You get to learn.
Yeah.
If you enjoy feeling like how you felt getting your ass kicked against Minnesota.
Mike SCHAEFER coming up next year on Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Drive into Fall event is on at Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs. Lease the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn for just $359 a month with 0 down. Fearless fall savings with a massive inventory this October. Or upgrade to Adventure with the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, lease starting at $299 a month with 0 down. Big inventory, bigger savings. Hurry to Edwards Ram and Jeep, Village Point and Council Bluffs.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
It's a great question. I thought, Michigan, we struggled on the edges at tackle. Michigan State, some of those sacks, we're holding the ball, trying to push the ball down the field. Like, they're kind of like, low value sacks. We got beat on a protection blitz. We were better against Maryland. And then this game, it was just everything. So the ball has to get out quicker. We have to step up in protection. The coaches have to figure out, the coaching staff has to figure out not what we want to do, but what can we do. So it's purely on us.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centros Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We are joined now by Mike SCHAEFER from Husker 24/7. Shafe, what's going on, buddy?
Not a ton. Just a Tuesday morning. The wind is blowing. It looks like we're finally getting fall weather. Damon's baseball team took their bye all the way to the World Series.
You were so nice on Saturday. Was it because you were with your lovely wife, or you just that was your one day?
I was out in public. Here, I can just take shots from the comfort of my own office, But out in public, I have a certain reputation I need to uphold.
It was good to see you guys, Mike J. So, since you were busy being supportive, you didn't get to see Rink Mass make his push for the top player in the draft. I mean, come on. You're a diehard Nebraska ball fan.
Well, there was a lot going on Saturday, and it all comes after having to come back from a game that was 5.5 hours away. I'm just fortunate that Michael Severe wanted to jump in a car at 5 a.m. and listen to me talk his ear off for 5.5 hours. I have to say, if I could do a radio show where I just sit in a car while someone else drives, Severe and I could have a pretty good show. We got to a lot of places, including him putting on a podcast for how VH1 got started. And then because it's Severe and I, we got about 2 minutes in before a side conversation started, and the podcast got paused basically for the rest of the drive.
I have a question. I have a question just because I talked to him so much. Have you ever had to be such a fast listener as when you have conversations with Severe?
In the sense that, like, it can switch really quickly?
In a hurry, and he talks extremely fast.
We, for whatever reason, have always, maybe it's because we have the same initials. I don't know what it is, but it connects really well. Like, I can't say that I've ever thought about it and been like, oh, yeah, he talks really, but I have certainly been around people where it's like, oh, man, slow down. Like, my favorite example, every time I had to call him and do an interview when he was a recruit or when he was a player, I struggled with Lamar Jackson so much. And I don't even know if he talks that fast, but it's just, there's something about, I just couldn't pick it up. There was times where it felt like a foreign language, and it wasn't. It's just like, I just couldn't pick it up. And so, Severe, it's not that. Other people, like I said, I've had that, but yeah, we had a terrific drive. It was great to get back. It was a wonderful celebration of life for Matt Vrzal. Very well put on event. Props to everybody that got up and spoke, and tons of great stories about a great person.
I have to. So, how did you reconcile? Well, just walk me through the presser yesterday. Like, everybody's got some hot takes. How'd you land the plane on reconciling yesterday?
I thought that it was a press conference he needed to have after what was pretty underwhelming. And I understand it. We asked coaches to have all the answers immediately after the game, and they still have to be able to walk through it themselves. But I thought at the very least, and this is, probably stupid on my part, but at the very least, I think that he owed it to people to show more disappointment than maybe, and I know that it was there for him on Friday, but what happened is inexcusable. And I appreciate that he took ownership of that on Monday. And it's not that he didn't on Friday, but it's the way that he took ownership of it on Monday. And even if it met with a ton of skepticism, which I think is warranted, the idea that he's telling you to your face that it's not going to look like that again, I appreciate it. I appreciate the acknowledgement that it never should have looked like that. And I appreciate the acknowledgement that against Northwestern, it's not going to look like that. Now, they have to make that stand up on its own when the ball is kicked off at 11 a.m. and they got to bring their own juice because it's going to be sleepy. But it's at least appreciated by me, and only me, because I can only speak for myself, that he acknowledged how things went on Friday the way that he did, and that it can't happen like that again. Because not every coach has that I've covered here at Nebraska. And so I do appreciate that he stepped in that direction. I thought that he tried to be as introspective without completely opening up the doors to himself and the program as he could be in that kind of situation on Monday. I thought that he was willing to take the conversation in places that maybe other coaching staff or head coaches wouldn't. So I appreciate that Matt Rhule has depth and has layers to him and isn't closed off in a situation where it'd have been easy to, because you guys have all experienced this. When things aren't going well, what do we tend to do as humans? You tend to shut down. Things didn't go well on Friday, and Matt Rhule didn't shut down on Monday when he had to face questions from the media. And it's not like he was standing in front of live fire there and, worried about a ton, but it's at least appreciated by me as a media member, appreciated by me as someone who's watched a ton of football, that he was willing to stand up there and as much as he could open things up as to his thoughts, as to where they are in their process. He was vulnerable in a way that I think I appreciate. He was open in a way that I certainly appreciate. So, maybe people didn't get every answer that they wanted, At least he was giving you something. And I don't think it was manufactured. I don't think it was rehearsed. I don't think it was fake. I think that was as raw and real as we've seen Matt Rhule be in a vulnerable state after a loss that shook him and clearly shook the fan base. I mean, the reaction after this one is closer to stuff we would see out of the Pelini era than it has been anything Riley and Scott Frost.
Shafe, would you, I'm curious what you think the difference was, or maybe the reason for the difference between Friday and Monday was in terms of the tone you were talking about with Matt Rhule. If I gave you two options, let me know which of these, like where you would put the percentages on this. First, like you said, hadn't watched the film yet, didn't necessarily have enough time to digest it real time, what he actually felt about it. Second, the things he wanted to say, he hadn't told the team or his other coaches yet, so he wasn't going to tell us.
I mean, I think those are two very they line up with each other. I couldn't parallel thoughts is kind of what I was getting
Okay.
at. I think they work in conjunction. So what I'm trying to say is it's not going to be like a wide split between the two. So maybe 60-40, 60 with the first, 40 with the second, just kind of spitballing that is sort of the first thought that I have. But I think that kind of fits. I do think, like I said, there's the emotional side of it where, the fan base, the media, everybody wants answers immediately after the game. But you're right. He does need to assess what happened. And he needs to have the conversations with the staff and with the players and that too. So I think there's an absolute lane for both of those things to be true in conjunction with each other.
So, Shafe, you think much, and maybe this isn't kind of how he thinks, but clearly when you're that authentic or transparent, you're going to leave yourself open to criticism, right? Where, I mean, it just goes with it. How much of that do you think is useful in what it takes to succeed at this job?
I think you have to be at least aware and acknowledge that you're going to be criticized for things that are fair. You're going to be criticized for things that you can't control. You're going to be criticized for things that are just patently unfair. And that's just the nature of the job. That's unfortunately, you have to have some kind of shell. You've got to be a little bit of a turtle, I guess. You have to be able to recede into the shell and the attacks have to be able to bounce off of you. But at the same time, you have to be able to poke your head up and have the wherewithal and the ability to communicate what it is that you thought happened, what it is that you thought resulted in your team going up to Minnesota and playing this game and looking thoroughly outclassed. Even though you had 6 great games before it, great's just let that hang in the air, whatever. Great isn't what I really mean, but you had 6 games that weren't representative of that before it. So the sample size is a lot larger of what your team has actually looked like. But the emotional toll that seeing Nebraska play like that in that building against that team with that kind of, inability to fight back, can outweigh the good that you've done. You have to be able to understand that as a coach because it comes with the territory of the job. I do think Matt Rhule is someone that can. I think we've covered a coach or two in the past that wasn't able to separate that, or acknowledge like, hey, not every criticism of me is going to be completely fair, but there's stuff in there that is, or criticism of our team. And I think Rhule knows that. And I think I appreciate that he sort of acknowledges that in the way that questions are asked or in the way that he answers things.
Shafe, I'll say, yeah, I was going to ask something different, but were you surprised that he said, hey, yeah, everything you guys are going to ask me a question about is right? I don't know that I've heard that.
It's a disarming technique. I mean, it's a way to basically let everybody know, like, hey, we effed up.
Yeah. At what point? What are you going to say, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's kind of like he could have basically just said, you watched it, like, I mean, there's really not a whole lot to defend in a performance that they had on Friday.
Mike J., in 28 seconds in the press box hallway, an hour before the game, you said exactly what played out. So I asked the question, what's he gonna say?
Yeah.
Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Did you leave anything out in that explanation to me of
Before
what
the
happened
game?
of what happens in Minneapolis in that stadium?
No, I mean, and look, I was just going off of just the gut feel of how Nebraska has performed in these situations. And this is a Super Bowl game for Minnesota. Like, I don't know how, and you're a former player, and you would have a better insight to this than certainly I would. And I can't speak for Ravi, but I'm assuming it'd be a little bit similar there too. We've all been competitors, but you've at least played at the level that Nebraska football is at. And I find it just absolutely hard to explain how that team couldn't have been more motivated or more ready to go, or whatever the phrasing is, that just allowed Minnesota to come in and just own every aspect of that game. And it always feels like when Nebraska leaves that building in particular, that they just want it more. It just, and the way that like PJ Fleck kind of like sticks the knife in and then he turns it a little bit and then he smiles to the camera and turns it a little more. And then he has another cute phrase and turns it a little more. That guy loves beating Nebraska. He absolutely loves it. His team loves it. They love this game. They hate every conversation about Nebraska because meanwhile, while they're working and they're doing their thing and they're stacking wins and they've had success and they go win in bowl games, Nebraska's over here getting talked about. Is Dylan Rhule a Heisman candidate? Is Matt Rhule a Penn State coaching candidate? Is Nebraska back? Is Nebraska this? Is Nebraska that? Since PJ Fleck has been there, all Minnesota has done since year zero for him is stack a bunch of wins, have some success, do it in the relative obscurity of a media market that doesn't care about him, do it in the relatively obscurity of a national media market that doesn't care about him. And they have to hear about this program a few states away that they've beaten now 6 straight times. Yeah, they're sick of Nebraska. I try to explain this. Their fan base hates Nebraska because Nebraska represents everything they can't be in the sense no one ever talks about them. Even when they win that game, the conversation's more about how did Nebraska let this happen than what Minnesota did on the field. Like it's so they are so it's almost like a little brother complex, and they are more than happy to just needle and needle and needle. And at some point, you got to see Nebraska fight back. And I know Matt Rhule doesn't own all of this, but he owns the last 2, and he's going to own the next however many. And it has to matter at some point to everybody in that program that the day that you play Minnesota needs to stand out on the schedule. It was an issue when this happened with Iowa, and I think it's an issue now.
So, I number one, I agree 100% with that. Because, all week I was talking about on the show, the level of disdain. Mm-hmm. Everybody we talked to, I'm like, hey, it's volatile. There's vitriol. They hate us. The F Nebraska chants, 45 minutes before the game started was further example of that. That student section was there early. But could I convince you, Schaefer, that with where this team was, right, level of success, you'd won at Maryland, you'd come from behind against Michigan, you were showing some resolve. Could I make the case that this particular team had to go through something like this to learn from in order to not feel this way again?
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. So there's a duality to this, and it's why I picked Minnesota last week. It's why I picked Minnesota in the summer. It's why, when the schedule came out, everyone was sort of like, this isn't a great spot. Because in order for, and we did this after the Michigan game too, but in order for Nebraska to be the 8-4 in the projections that everybody has, there has to be 4 losses. Like a season, we think about college football too much like it's always about perfection. Like there's going to be losses in there, and these teams have to go through that. And this is one of those losses. And what matters, just like it did after the Michigan game, is how Nebraska picks itself up. And does this loss beat them again? Or do they show up and do they play better football on Saturday against a Northwestern team that's limited, but does a bunch of things that are going to give Nebraska some issues and is going to be another opportunity to prove, hey, we can be tough. Hey, we can play this Big Ten football style. We can play when the game script isn't exactly how we want it. Like that's their opportunity in front of them. I think the larger problem that the fan base feels is that Nebraska showed that on Friday in a nationally televised game against a team that beat them 5 straight times. It means they can show it against anybody. It means that they can just not show up at any point in time. Now, can they eventually make you not feel that? Yeah. It's called stacking wins, and that's what they've got to do. And so if you go beat Northwestern, if you go handle business against UCLA, then you got Penn State and Iowa. And I'm leaving the USC game out because that one's a little bit different. But you have opportunities to change the narrative about how people talk about you instead of playing into it like they did exactly on Friday. So, yeah, I can believe that this team needs to go through that. They need to have that disappointment. It needs to burn inside of them every time they're out on the field. But I could also argue they did it against UCLA the year before. They did it against Michigan State in 2023. This isn't new. That's why it was an easy prediction to make in the summer. That's why it's hard to predict for Nebraska to win a bunch of games in a row, because they haven't shown you at any point that they've learned their lesson. They're still going to put their hand on the hot stove. So, you know, like it cuts both ways. I can believe absolutely that they need to learn things, but I can also point out that I feel like they should have already.
So where do you draw the line if I told you, like, that's not their burden to bear?
This particular team?
Yeah.
I don't know that I agree with all of that. I mean, there's
and
there's enough guys that played in that UCLA game.
Yeah, I don't ask to tell you, like, to say that I'm like that's how I feel. I'm just saying,
right?
If that was the sentiment that they're trying to move forward.
Yeah, I can respect that you want every season to stand on its own. That's great. That's not how anyone's collective consciousness of sports works. Unfortunately, when you play for a piece of laundry, everyone associates that piece of laundry with everything that happened before it and everything that happens in front of it. So when Mike SCHAEFER is watching the Cleveland Guardians with a lead in a postseason baseball game and it's the 9th inning, I don't know if the reliever has ever heard of Jose Mesa before, but what do you think I'm thinking of in that scenario? You know, like that's the reality of sports. You know, so like when you're, you know, if the Dodgers and the Blue Jays go to Game 7, you're going to have some instinctive thoughts about Game 7 against Houston. You know, it's just the way that this works. Now,
you know what's funny about
the players own this? No, but the players don't own the conversation that happens around the team. The players own the product that's on the field. That's all they own. They don't get to own the narrative. The narrative's created with or without them. Like, that's something that we have to understand. And Matt Rhule needs to understand. He doesn't, like, Matt Rhule loves to own everything in the program. He doesn't get to own the conversation that happens around it. He doesn't get to erase your memories that other things happen. That doesn't mean that we can't, you know, acknowledge that just because things happened before doesn't mean it has to happen again. But it's impossible to try to tell a fan base that's been beaten down in this situation over and over and over that their memories of it aren't an emotional, real thing while they're watching it play out again.
What was the irony of watching Vlad Guerrero Jr. wear an Austin Matthews hockey jersey to the stadium? Like, if you're talking about not your burden, the Leafs can't win Game 7s. Like,
yeah, but the Blue Jays have Joe Carter forever. You know,
like he rocks the Austin Matthews jersey, and I was like, just all I could think of was the line in Major, just huge marbles. Like, that guy could give 2 cares. And I get it. You could pit that against Joe Carter, but he intentionally picked Austin Matthews, right? As if to say, bring it on. Like, I don't know, man. I got to chuckle. I know the Leafs or the, you know, Toronto fans got it, but I don't know if national media picked up on it. You know what I mean?
I appreciate when teams that have, you know, multiple cities that have multiple sports teams, and it feels like it's a bigger deal when it's in a kind of a mid-market than it is in a major market. Like, I appreciate when you can see the love that they have for one another across it. Like, that's one of those things that's cool about the Minneapolis market and the Cleveland market. I don't know that you get that so much in LA and Chicago and New York because there's so many teams, but it, you know, I do appreciate that. As someone who I didn't care who won last night. I wanted an entertaining game, and I certainly got it.
SCHAEFER, so let me ask you the question. This is, I think, the natural follow-up to what we've talked about so far this morning. What's your level of confidence that they come out from Northwestern and have learned their lesson?
It's pretty high. I mean, I think Nebraska is a good football team. I don't think that they're great. I don't think that they are perfect, but I think they're a good football team. And I think that they do things well, and I think that they can stress other teams. And I think they have guys on their team that are matchup issues for Northwestern. And I think Northwestern's offense is limited enough that Nebraska can get this into a certain game flow and they can make things difficult for Preston Stone and Griffin Wild and whoever else. And so I believe that Nebraska has the ability to go win this game, and I think they will on Saturday. I don't think that this is a loss that's going to beat them multiple times. It's the loss that just sits in the back of your mind anytime you want to feel exuberant about where Nebraska football is, because it brings you back home. You know, it's a grounding kind of thing. And that doesn't have to be bad. You know, that can be something like Damon was saying earlier that they can build upon as a team, but it's how you use it. It's how it is motivational fuel for what you're doing. It makes me wonder if it can be the sort of thing that, hey, I don't want to go that hard today at practice, but in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I didn't go that hard before we played Minnesota and then we got our ass kicked. You know, like, is it that kind of thing? You know, and it can work the other way too. And we've seen it work the other way where game gets tight, Nebraska gets tight, and then they fall apart. I don't think that's this team. I really don't. And I think they had a bad night. And I think it was exacerbated by the circumstances of the team that they were playing and the situation that they were in and everything surrounding it. I don't think they were distracted by the Matt Rhule Penn State talk. I think they had a legitimately bad night and a bad game plan, and they have to move forward from it. And it requires the coaches to help them out too. Dana Holgorsen can't have another game this year where Ja'Cory Barney gets one target. Full stop. Can't happen ever again.
Real time in the game. I'm like, we could talk about a lot, but I mean, they're just easy.
Get your best players the ball.
It's just there's just too much low hanging fruit where everybody had to be accountable than one general narrative, right? Like,
agreed.
They were bad. Everybody, they were bad across the board.
It was a bad game plan. It was a bad, bad performances in there. You had miscommunications throughout on your offensive line. You had the worst version of Dylan Raiola where he gets hit and he can't keep his eyes downfield and he just holds the ball longer and longer each subsequent time. I do wonder if Dana Holgorsen has answers for how to help Dylan Raiola, because we're now 7 games in and we aren't seeing any extra rolling him out of the pocket. We're not seeing things that can help mitigate this. And so I do wonder, and Dana's going to talk today. And I would imagine
it's going to be fascinating.
And, he's not someone, he doesn't beat around the bush. And that's why we like when he gets up and talks. And so I will be curious if he's defensive. I'll be curious if he's introspective. I'll be curious if he's very open about it. Or I'll be curious if he's like, you know what? You can see it on Saturday. That's my response. Any of these things are possible. And so he's a key figure in all of this. And he's not the reason they lost the game, but that game plan didn't help them win the game. And that matters just as much as anything else.
You know what's interesting? I said this to KC at some point during the broadcast. It's almost like when he made the crazy play to Lindemeyer and then threw it left-handed. I said, I hope it's not like the guy that makes his first 3-point shot and he's not really a 3-point shooter. I just was hoping that some of those early third down conversions had come by easier, so you didn't fall into fool's gold.
Yeah, I mean that's incredibly.
I had this exact conversation in real time with the guy I was sitting with. That exact as he does.
I said it during I was like,
as he does the left-handed throw. There was a play where it was literally 11 seconds before he threw the football. The one to Lindemeyer on the backside. I was timing it. It was 11 seconds. That's 3 or 4 plays worth of time. And we said it real time ago, hey, I hope this isn't negative reinforcement where it feels like he can do this all game.
That's a good term. It's a good term. Mike J.
It's a concern.
Hey, let me ask you something about the Vikings real quick.
Oh no.
Well, no, this is jeez. It's legit. How do you want them to play when you know they're playing well? Like, what does it look like for you with Wentz?
Well, it doesn't have Wentz, so we start there. I mean, I guess if they have to have Carson Wentz, I kind of need them.
The game that Joe Flacco, like, consider the source.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have Carson Wentz and you know that he's pretty erratic in terms of throwing the ball down the field, I probably wouldn't have him throw the ball 40 plus times in the game, even though I understand the Eagles have a bad pass defense. And that's what makes that loss frustrating, I actually thought Minnesota outplayed them in a long stretch of that game. But you have a pick six from Carson Wentz, and you have 5 field goals in the red zone, or 5 field goals overall, 4 in the red zone. They weren't able to score touchdowns because he can't be precise with his passes. So there's a couple things you can do with that. You shorten the passes, or you start giving the ball to Jordan Mason, and instead of 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, and then you give a horrible holding penalty that takes a touchdown off the board, you've already picked up that first down because you got Jordan Mason, who's criminally underutilized.
He's pretty physical, man.
Like, I love that guy. That guy is everything I want in a running back. He is a great pass protector. He is an absolute bull when he's running the ball, and he's a better catcher than you think out of the backfield. He is a 3-down running back, and when Aaron Jones comes back, they can just put him in backup duty because it's Jordan Mason's role. And I just think they don't utilize him enough. I think Kevin O'Connell loves to design pass plays, and he falls into this thing where he's got the perfect play for the perfect situation. Here's the problem. You don't have Kirk Cousins. You don't have Sam Darnold. You're operating with, Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall and Carson Wentz, and the worst version of all of it, J.J. McCarthy, because he's the least equipped to play the position right now.
Oh,
so you can't run your actual offense. So you have to be able to, goes back to the Dana Holgorsen thing. You can fall in love with your play design and what you do really well, or you can go win the damn football game. One of them feels better than the other.
How crazy was it that Coach Rhule talked about who you want to be versus who you need to be? Like, what can you do? Like that of all the things that I like, that was probably the shot heard around the world. Because
do you know the biggest irony in him saying that, though, is we spent all last season complaining about Marcus Satterfield's offense, pointing out how bad offenses are under Matt Rhule. And all Matt Rhule would probably tell you off to the side, he probably wouldn't be able to say it publicly because he'd get crucified for it, is that he won a bunch of games marrying his mediocre offense with a defense and playing in a very specific style. And there are times where this version of Nebraska would probably be a little bit more successful if they could marry those two things together. And yet there are other times where this version of Nebraska can go put up 40 points because they have that kind of ability on offense. And so the truth has to be somewhere in the middle, and it's on Matt Rhule and Dana Holgorsen to figure that out. And this is, we're also, since I am talking too much, but I had this thought just pop into my head. We're also seeing how difficult it is for an offensive coordinator working with a head coach when they don't have the exact same view on what they want to happen. Because Dana Holgorsen has been a head coach. Dana Holgorsen has been a play caller for a long time. Matt Rhule doesn't call offensive plays, but he has a pretty good idea of what he wants the game flow to look like and what he thinks Nebraska should do. But Matt Rhule, famously, who likes to be in control, has ceded all of that to Dana Holgorsen. So it is a very, we probably, because of how last season finished, did not allow for the idea that these two would not be in lockstep agreement with how game might play out and what might be needed in certain situations.
Yeah, it's fascinating because all offseason I talked about the offensive line, and it was in regards to run blocking, because I said, and who knows, I could end up being way wrong, and so far it's looking that way maybe. I said, I think Coach Holgorsen wants to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And this is pre-Mark Way. This was, the 3 tight ends, and I'm like, these guys have a chance to be pretty good because I felt like they would run the ball. I think they've proven they can run the ball. I'll be curious to see if they go back to running the football because their best players, for the most part, outside of EJ, are pass-catching pass guys. Like the whole who we need to be versus who, I'm fascinated by it, in my opinion.
But there's no reason that you can't, they were able to utilize both against Maryland. They're able to utilize both against Michigan State. It's the Minnesota game where you come out with 3 straight passes, where you have a long stretch where Emmett Johnson doesn't touch the ball, where Isaiah Mosey runs for 5 yards and you immediately go back for a pass and get sacked and the drive's ruined. Some of it is learning to build upon yourself. Some of it is it doesn't have to be an either or. I feel like I hear that a lot in the discussion about Nebraska football. They need to run the ball. They need to get the playmakers the ball. Well, you can do both. Good teams have figured out how to do both. There's no reason that Nebraska can't have an offense that highlights Emmett Johnson and can also get Ja'Cory Barney 5 touches a game, can also get Dane Key an opportunity in the end zone, can also get an Isaiah Hunter a pass or two. There's no reason this can't exist. And part of it is Nebraska doesn't run enough offensive plays. How many games have they played this year where they've been in the low 60s or the 50s because they're not converting or their defense is allowing 9-minute drives?
I think one of their losses was the most plays they ran. I think was Michigan this.
Well, that's because they were giving up one-play drives on 70-yard runs.
So they ran like 76 plays,
Yeah,
though, and I think in the Big Ten, that's by far the most that they've ran.
Yeah, and so that they have to kind of figure out what team you're going to be in conference play. There might be an argument to be made the Akron and Houston Christian games, not because of the score or any of that. It maybe diluted what you thought you were going to do in conference play, and now they have to change that they're actually in here.
Schaefer, I'll let you go on this. Did you ever think you'd say the words basically, hey, Sam Darnold's not walking through that door?
Well, I wouldn't have said it in March of 24. I think I was saying it like the first minute of the J.J. McCarthy experience.
I can't.
Sam Darnold didn't have a great game last
to be
night.
Such a hater. Come on, Mike J.
Like Darnold did not have a great game last night, but oh my gosh, if Minnesota had Sam Darnold at quarterback, and I don't know how it changes everything else that they have on their not very good offensive line and their not very good defensive line that they spent all their great resources on, they would be at 5-2 like everybody else in the NFC that's good. And it is infuriating in a conference where nobody's that good that you had an opportunity to be one of those teams like, now we want this rookie contract on our quarterback. That's what everybody wants. You don't want to play for playoffs. You want to have financial flexibility for spending.
Hell yeah, Schaefer. That's Mike J. Schaefer, Husker 24/7.
They give a great trophy for that. It'll go right next to all their non-Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's called GM of the Year. That's a wonderful trophy to have.
He's not going to win that.
Schaefer, we will talk to you later, buddy.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
That is Mike Schaefer, Husker 24/7. Great stuff from Schaefer as always.
Good thing his wife is nice.
I think Schaefer is great. I think he's real nice. I didn't see him on Saturday. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, he was kind of laying in the cut, but then he came around back by the podium.
Yeah. Want to tell you real quick before we get to Louis VACCHER of Wildcat Report that there are ways to make winning moves with Centrist Federal Credit Union. They've got certificate and savings account bundles, which offer competitive rates when you open a certificate and a new savings account. That's two excellent rates that can help you reach your financial goals. Check out more. CentristFCU.org. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Louis VACCHER from Wildcat Report coming up next.
The Kia Fall Savings Event is on at Edwards Kia. Fall into fearless savings with upfront deals on your favorite models. Lease a 2025 Kia Soul LX starting at $189 per month for 24 months with $2,000 due at signing. Style, efficiency, and a price that moves you. Smart looks, fearless savings. Or lease the 2025 Kia Carnival EX starting at $389 per month for 24 months with $2,000 due at signing. Comfort and tech made for every family adventure. Hurry, the Kia Fall Savings Event ends November 3rd at Edwards Kia.
At Centrist Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here's what I'll tell you exactly how I really feel, Mitch. They were excited to play. They were fired up. There was juice on the sidelines. There was energy. We came out early on, and it's just the football wasn't good enough. And I think once Minnesota started to assert their physicality, I don't know that we were ready for a fist fight. I think we thought it was going to be a little bit easier. That's sad to say, but that's why it falls on me. A lot of times get up here and say this is my fault. I told the team the entire week that this was a tough physical team and this would be a battle. And I had even assistant coaches like, man, why are you keep crowning them? I'm tired of that, man. Like, you better respect every team you play, especially when you're at Nebraska. Like, people are getting excited for you. So I'm not letting us off the hook by saying, hey, we weren't, you know what I mean? Like, that's just like they played better than us. Credit to them, credit to them.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, reminding you can come out to Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill a week from Friday. That's October 31st, Halloween. We're going to try and get DB into a costume. We'll see what happens. But we will have a pregame breakfast before the USC blackout. You can come here.
What are we eating?
We've got the great brunch buffet. Because they serve brunch at the Gretna location. We're going to bring that food down here, give you a brunch buffet, all you can eat for $15. Oh. You can also order drinks. I saw some of the sausage and bacon. You're going to be happy.
Really?
You're going to be real happy.
Let's get it.
It was phenomenal. Lots of options for you. Make sure you come down. RSVP at Eventbrite. Just search for Hurrdat Sports Live. You'll find it right there on the page. Make sure you join us. It's the only one we're doing this year. So make sure you come hang out with your boys, get ready for USC, have a great breakfast here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Shane, we got Louie?
He's working on it.
Working on the highway.
Bob Seger?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's not the one I would have gone with.
You're not a big Seger guy?
I don't have a strong opinion either way.
Some people very, very much like him. They don't always look like you. A lot of times they're pretty quiet.
It's been a couple of days.
I know. Had to lighten the mood. It's pretty serious today.
It's our chat. These guys are off the chain.
I know. No, so I have a friend of mine that is loves Bob Seger. Huge Bob Seger fan. And he's one of the guys that will go out to a bar and kind of take over a jukebox with every once in a while.
And he's the reason I got to download the app so I can cut that dude off, and we're just dueling playing songs next.
I play next.
Wasting all my doll hairs trying to play next.
I stay playing next, baby. And one of the first times I hung out with him in that setting, I for some reason just decided, he was talking about Bob Seger, I for some reason just decided to give him a hard time and tell him that he was a hack. And then I don't even care. I like Bob Seger. I was just being me for some reason.
Yeah.
And I kept going on and on about it. Be like, oh no, he's this wannabe, wishes he could be Jim Morrison, just going on and on, his derivative and whatever. And I never thought about it again. 6 months later, he's like, man, I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about Bob Seger.
I almost had to walk home.
Whether he's derivative or not for the last 6 months.
I almost had to walk home from Minnesota. when he was going to kick me out over to me telling him the Beatles were overrated. And if he didn't need a co-pilot to drive, he probably would have put me out.
Yeah, you got to. Gots to go. Yeah,
he's not. particularly tickled over that conversation.
Which John was this?
Leslie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You see Ben getting snaps for CP?
Who?
His son. He's getting snaps for prep.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
There you go.
He wears 7.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was him.
Yeah.
There you go.
He's tall now. It's like, what the?
Where'd that come from?
I know.
We have our guest here.
I told him the mailman, but nobody thought that was funny.
Can't say milkman anymore. Nobody's got one of those. We've got our guy, LOUIE VACCHER from Wildcat Report, joining us now to talk about Northwestern. LOUIE, how are we doing this morning?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. Look, it's always so like we're going years on this. It seems like nothing changes. We're always going to be terrified every time you guys come to Lincoln. But this time it's different, right? You go from coach of the year to hot seat to kind of hot seat this year to, oh my God, these guys might be pretty good. Like, who's this team and who's this coach?
Yeah, it's been a pretty impressive
How about his
run
2.5 years, right?
Yeah, you're right. He was coach of the year. Then last year they really fell off, and a lot of people thought, with the new stadium next year, this year he'd really have to prove it, and he was a bit on the hot seat. He started showing up on some coaching hot seat lists earlier in the season. But since then, they lost that opener. They looked terrible against Tulane, turned the ball over 5 times, and got off to a really bad start. But since then, their only loss is to Oregon, and they've won 4 in a row now. And I think more than anything, they found their identity. They are running the football. They always play solid defense. That's always a given. And they're once again a fundamentally sound unit. They stop the run. They really make you earn any scores. And then they're really running the football. The last 2 weeks, they had 50 rushes against Purdue. The week before against Penn State, 42. So they're really committed to the ground game. Then they get that play action pass going, and they really kind of found their identity the last few weeks. And yeah, they're sitting there in that log jam in the Big Ten with a bunch of other teams, and things are looking up. They won 4 in a row.
So LOUIE, you mentioned that defense, and I watched a couple of their games. I watched that Oregon game, and I've watched Oregon pretty closely. Them and Indiana are about the only defenses that made life even a little bit difficult on the Ducks. What does Northwestern do so well defensively that even when facing competition like Oregon, where they're out-athleted, that they can still give them such a difficult time?
Yeah, well, they're a bend but don't break unit. So they will give you yards between the 20s, but they'll stiffen in the red zone. And their goal is to make you go, 10, 12, 14 plays or something like that if you're going to score on them. They keep everything in front of them. They're a very fundamentally sound unit. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. In the back end, they like to play a lot of cover 4, keep things in front of you, and don't give up the big play. And like I said, make you earn it down the field. And that's what they do. They're a very steady unit, and they're betting that you'll have a negative play or a penalty or something like that to put you behind the chains, and you'll have to kick it back to them. That's what they do. That's been their MO for a long time, even under Pat Fitzgerald when they had Mike Hankwitz as the defensive coordinator. It's the same now with Tim McGargle as the defensive coordinator. They play that bend but don't break unit. They're very fundamentally sound. They play smart football. That's what they do.
Hard to throw it over their heads, so you have to be patient. Are you pretty surprised, or did you kind of feel that when he's putting this staff together and it's kind of been piece by piece that they would have the resolve and kind of gel the way they have, given how the last 30 months have gone?
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise. There were some interesting people there, and they brought in a second offensive line coach this year, which was everybody's kind of scratching their heads about. And they have a couple. Tim McGargle still handles linebackers. They have like an extra defensive assistant in there. There's a few kind of curious things there, but it has really come together. And like I said, I think especially these last few weeks, they've really found their identity. They know who they are, and that's the way they're going to play, and they're going to make you beat them. They're very confident in what they're going to do, and it's not exciting football. They're not going to score 50 points on anybody. But they're going to try to grind you shorten the game, limit possessions, and beat you that way in a tight, low-scoring game. That's what they've been doing.
Louie, what have you thought about Preston Stone at quarterback? Obviously, they have taken some things off his plate in terms of what the offense is being asked to do with running the football, but how do you think he's performed? As you mentioned, that play action's become a pretty important part of their offense.
Yeah, so he got off to just a horrendous start. I mean,
Sure
it was
did.
that first game. My God,
Mhm.
he had 8 interceptions in his career. He threw 4 in the season opener against Tulane, and he really had a rough go. The first couple of weeks, he had some bad turnovers and even like dropping the football and things like that. But he's kind of found himself and his role in this offense. You know, they've committed to the run, and he's been a little smarter with the football, and they're running that play action and things like that. I don't think, you know, he feels like he has to win a game for them anymore. You know, that if he stays within the offense, they're going to run the football and beat you that way. He got in, I'll tell you, last week, he had a couple throws that could have been picked off. They got kind of lucky there. That, you know, he had 1 interception, and it could have been a couple more. When he gets pressure, his mechanics tend to, you know, fall away. He'll throw off his back foot and things like that, and that's something he's really got to guard against. You know, ball security is paramount when you want to, you know, run the football and shorten the game and things like that. You can't give the ball up. So that's something that's, you know, it's still a bit of a concern, but he's been much, much better. And, you know, he's got an arm. He can make all the throws, and he's got some mobility. He can do some things, extending plays. You know, he's not a great runner, but he can extend plays and move around in that pocket. So he's an ideal quarterback for him. He just got to, you know, make sure he takes care of the football.
That's interesting, too, because one of my keys when we'll do them Thursday is when Nebraska gets their hands on interception-worthy balls, they've got to catch it, right? Because a lot of times these guys haven't come up with balls that he's put in harm's way, and it's almost uncanny over the last 3 or 4 weeks how you guys convert those drives into points, it seems. Right? You're not scoring a ton, but when defenses let you guys off the hook, you look up and like 5 or 6 more minutes have come off the clock. Is it just a mindset? Is it? I mean, I get it. Caleb's gotten going in the backfield, but it just seems like when you don't make Northwestern pay the price, inevitably it comes back to haunt you.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And they are committed to that ground game, right? So even like Penn State, they had 42 carries, only 119 yards. You know, they kept at it, and they wore them down. And in the fourth quarter is when they won the game. You know, they are committed to it. Last week they had 50 carries. They had 38. I'm reading them here. 38 against Louisiana Monroe, 42 against UCLA. So they're going to run the football. That's what they do. And, you know, getting back to those interceptions, getting their hand on the ball, I thought the last few weeks here, Northwestern's wide receivers have been outstanding as defensive backs when they need to be. Like there were some balls that, yeah, they come back and they slap it away, or they knock it away, or they hit them and jar the ball loose. So they've really made some plays there that saved the potential, you know, turnover.
Louie, if this game goes Northwestern's way, kind of paint me a picture of what that looks like. Obviously, running the football, playing good defense. I'm guessing making Nebraska inefficient in the red zone. What else does that look like for Northwestern if this game goes the way they want it to?
I mean, you just gave me the Northwestern game plan right there.
The red zone is interesting because it's strength on non. Nebraska has not been able to generate touchdowns.
Yeah,
and Northwestern isn't giving them up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's what they do. Kind of they're not as good, I think, on the offensive end, scoring touchdowns. They settle for a lot of field goals, but that's their goal on that end. And then defensively, if you do get in the red zone, they're going to try to limit you to 3 points. They get really tough in that condensed area. You know, you don't have a lot of room to work with, and that's where they excel. You know, they are where they're supposed to be, and they're going to make you earn it. So, but yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. I think, you know, I watched the Nebraska-Minnesota games. It was on Friday night last week, and, you know, Minnesota had that 14-play, 98-yard drive.
Oh, the backbreaker.
Yeah, and that's what Northwestern wants to do right there. Just eat the clock and grind it down and move the chains and get down there and score. And that's, that's their MO right there. And, I also saw that they sacked Rhule 9 times in that game. So that's another thing. I'm sure they're going to try to get after him and make him uncomfortable in the pocket.
Louis, let me ask you something, since you know a lot about both teams. Do the folks in Evanston, with the kind of newfound buzz in the stadium and what's going on with development, is one eye looking over at Champaign, or are you guys good there in terms of being secure?
What do you mean looking at
like like what Illinois is doing is like, oh, it would be nice.
Oh,
like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're secure with who they are and what they are as a program. I don't think there's any envy there. Illinois has gotten the better of them a few times here. Brett Bielema has been successful against Northwestern. So sure, that's a game they want to win. It's a trophy game. It's really their only rival that they have. So that's one, Northwestern circles every year. It's the last game of the season, and that's a big one in terms of pride and everything. But no, I think, Northwestern right now is in a good place. They feel like the team is surging at the right time. They've won 4 in a row, a bowl game, which, a couple weeks ago didn't look that great when they were sitting at 1-2. And all these games stacked up, and it didn't go as planned, right? So they lost to Tulane badly in an opener, and then if you told me beginning of the season they beat Penn State at Penn State, there's no way I would have believed that. So it's been a little unconventional, but here they are, winners of 4 in a row, and sitting at 5-2, and they got a bowl game, looks like a pretty solid thing here, and who knows? They could make some noise here, and if they can string a couple more wins together.
Let me ask you something going back, because that game was on as we were doing the pregame, and I'm speaking to Penn State. Was that kind of the resolve game? Because that was kind of before it really all the way went south for Penn State. It didn't always look great during that game, but you hung in there longer than they did on the road. Like, is that any sort of signature moment, or did you see something coming before then?
Well, they had been playing well. I thought, that UCLA game that, they beat them 17-14. Everybody kind of rolled their eyes because UCLA hadn't won a game yet. But since then, UCLA has been a pretty good team. That was a pretty decent win. Then they routed Louisiana Monroe like they're supposed to do. But that Penn State game, to me, really showed this team's resilience. Yeah. They lost the lead 3 times in that game. They let up some big plays. They had a muffed punt that eventually turned into a touchdown. They had a punt blocked in the first quarter. They had a 67-yard play that led to another touchdown that they gave up. So they had big plays against them. They lost the lead 3 times, and all 3 times they came back and won the game. And if you watch that game, I thought they were the more physical team on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And that really surprised me. And yeah, this is not what we expected from Penn State, and they were certainly struggling. But that was an impressive win. That was kind of a signature win for David Braun, I thought. Going into State College and beating them any year is a feather in your cap. So that was a big win for them, and it really showed, like you said, their resolve, I think, in that game.
That's Louis VACCHER from Wildcat Report. Louis, appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Louis.
All right, thanks for your time,
See you
guys.
soon.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
That is Louis VACCHER from Wildcat Report.
I know you're nervous.
Not really. Not as nervous as the chat seems to be.
You're okay. They're fans.
Fine. No, it's fine. I get it. Listen, if on the surface I look and I go, okay, if I want to take the negative approach, I can say, hey, this is a game plan that's going to be really similar to Minnesota's. I could say I think Northwestern's defense is probably actually better than Minnesota's. I think they've performed better. I don't know if they're more talented.
I don't know. Collins is so good.
He's very good at what he does, 100%. Northwestern's a good defense. You look at
some of that So here's the difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, please tell me.
This is the difference. I think with Coach Collins in Minnesota, the pre-snap versus post coverage is different.
Okay.
I think against Northwestern you're going to see quarters. Now, we'll see.
Okay.
Right? They got dry erase boards and markers too, as I like to say.
Yeah.
I think pre-snap affecting the quarterback, advantage
Minnesota.
Now,
Okay, that's an important
so that's
distinction.
kind of
That's an important distinction to make.
That's the difference. So
because that could go deeply into why Dylan was holding on to the ball for so long and whatever else he was saying.
Yeah.
Possibly.
100%.
That's a good distinction to make. I appreciate that. That is the show for today. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back tomorrow. We will try and turn the corner here. Start turning the corner on the week. You know, we've gotten
get into Northwestern.
Yeah, like listen, we've got all the Minnesota stuff out. Stuff out.
Coach Holgerson talks today.
Yeah, so maybe he disrupts our plans for tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll take Holgo's lead on that one.
Shoot.
That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We'll be back for Hurrdat Sports Live tomorrow.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.